future in the ecosystem of Chicago. So when we talk about common good bargaining, what we're talking about is that our members are investing in this city. It does mean something when there are 20,000 classified, unhoused young people in the city, because it means a lack of stability for our city.
Right.
Yeah.
So now are you on board for increasing the base salary or average salary, I should say, from a little over 90 grand to 155 grand at the end of this proposed contract? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro, answer line. Tony, Downers Grove.
Yeah, this was, I heard this interview yesterday because it was this wonderful Craig Delano, whatever.
Delamore.
Yeah.
Delamore. So this is on in the morning on Sundays, and the whole interview was nothing but a racial tirade.
Yep.
It was subtle, but she also said that she was asked, what
Subtle.
about conservatives that are pushing back?
Yeah, we just played that clip.
On the budget. Right. And she said, did you play the clip where she said it's part of the core of the conservatives not to want
black kids to teach black kids how to read.
Mm-hmm. And here's my question though. What is your track record, Stacy?
Yeah.
What's the track record of the Chicago Teachers Union? But it was just laced with racial. Everything was racial.
It's all they have.
It was about us replacing black assistants that have been fired. The whole thing revolved around race, and it's pitiful and disgusting.
Thanks for the call, Tony. It's unfortunate too. Craig Delamore, we've talked about before. I like Craig.
He didn't push back. I listened to the whole interview too. He didn't.
You allow somebody to say that conservatives don't want black kids to read, and that's not challenged at all. Even with the modest challenge of weren't conservatives behind the school choice movement that was giving black kids more opportunity? And then she would say, well, school choice is vestiges of slavery, and that's the new white supremacy, school choice. So all the black kids that are going to selective enrollment schools or charter schools or private schools in and around the city of Chicago, these are all victims of white supremacy. Is that what we should tell their parents? I would like someone someday to force someone like her to just have to develop that claim a little bit more. I'm inured to the claim. Oh, it's because you're racist. But at least make them run the traps and go through the motions and have to drill down on this so that we all can explain just exactly how this is some racial conspiracy to prevent black children from reading in a school district that where 85% of the kids are black and fewer than 1 in 3 read at grade level and fewer than 1 in 5 do math at grade level. I just wish that would be pressed upon Stacey Davis Gates to elaborate. Black kids, that's conservatives. In order to be a conservative, it's part of the core belief system that you don't want black kids to read. And this is a woman who gets to pontificate from the hallowed podium at the City Club and is taken seriously because of her title by the Chicago Press Corps, and she makes statements like that.
And she doesn't even send her kids to Chicago public schools.
Well, of course, the hypocrisy, the tribute she pays to her virtue. Dave on 294.
Good morning. I want to know how somebody in that high a position can understand the word literally. It's literally part of an oath that we keep children unable to read. And I have another question. When are we going to get a mayor who gets a contract for 6, 8, 10 years so we don't have to keep having children's education held up for ransom? Thank you. Love your show.
Thanks for the call, Dave. I think she learned to misuse literally from the big guy himself. Joe Biden loves to misuse that word. In terms of a 6, 8, 10-year contract, I don't think that's the problem with the quote-unquote city being held for ransom. I think the problem is, or the question is, when are you going to get a mayor that is willing to stand up to the Chicago Teachers Union? Because you haven't had one, ever?
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
At 5:38, the Donald descends on Detroit, 5:38.
But now let's head into the newsroom. Crystal Blue is in for Mike Scott. Good morning.
Good morning. It's 79 degrees in Chicago on AM 560 The Answer. I'm Crystal Blue in the AM 560 newsroom. Partly cloudy today, slight chance for thunderstorms with a high near 94. Detectives are investigating a deadly arson fire in an apartment in Chicago's Bridgeport neighborhood. Police say the blaze started early Saturday in the 3100 block of South Green Street when someone threw an incendiary device through a window. A woman was pronounced dead at the scene, and a 12-year-old girl was taken to Stroger Hospital in fair condition. No arrests have been made. Governor Pritzker and IDOT are touting the largest multi-year program to build and repair infrastructure in state history. The more than $41 billion program aims to modernize the state's transportation system and create economic support while improving safety, mobility, and quality of life throughout the state. It's spread over 6 years and includes projects in all 102 counties. The Chicago area includes projects on I-55, I-80, I-90, and 94, and Route 53. Chicago's outdoor pools are expected to open today for the summer. The city's 77 outdoor and indoor pools will be open 6 days a week due to an increase in the number of lifeguards. The city's only inland beach, Humboldt Park Beach, is reopening for the first time since 2020. News is a service of Valdecast Windows. For the discerning homeowner looking for high-quality and professional-level window replacement service, contact Valdecast Windows, your award-winning Platinum Elite Pella-certified contractor. Visit Valdecast.com. A check of the roads coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
Brandon Tatum isn't sure Biden's message hit home.
Today in Georgia, they won't allow water to be available to you while you wait in line to vote in an election. What in the hell is that all about?
So, black people, it's like you think we live in huts in the middle of a desert somewhere.
The Officer Tatum Show, weeknights at 8, right before Sean Hannity at 10 on AM 560. The Answer.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
That's some good stuff, I'll tell you. It really works.
I'm just really pleased with your product. I've been using it now for 3 years.
I've been taking it for a while now. I feel better. I live on the balance of nature. I plan on taking it forever.
I've been a very happy customer. I like the product, and I'm telling a lot of people about it.
Start your journey with Balance of Nature supplements. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer. And for a limited time, get 35% off your first order, plus $10 off any additional sets with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
The IRS finally caught up with Louie.
I hadn't paid my taxes in 8 years. I owe the IRS a lot of money.
Louie was in deep trouble.
We're going to take your house, put a lien on your bank account, garnish your pay. They don't care. They're going to take your paycheck.
Louie found out about Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $1 billion for their clients.
Optima Tax, they help me. They calm me down. They make me feel comfortable, and I trust them.
Louie has a lot to be thankful for.
I don't owe the IRS anymore, and I'm able to live a comfortable life, a lot better life. It was because of Optima Tax.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation. Take it from Louie.
If you owe the IRS, don't go it alone. Give Optima Tax a call. They can help you.
Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
This is Carol Platt-Liebau for townhall.com. No state can impose a 25% increase in its current minimum wage without expecting job creators to respond. So far, it's been only 2 months since California raised the minimum wage for fast food workers to $20 per hour, but the negative impact is already clear. There have been massive job losses, up to 10,000. Chipotle raised its menu prices by roughly 7%, and Chick-fil-A's prices increased an average of 11%. Red Lobster filed for bankruptcy, and Rubio's closed a third of its restaurants. Restaurants run on narrow margins. If the cost of paying employees rises, they have only a few options: raise the cost of their food, cut employee hours, stop hiring, and fire workers. California's experience recalls the sage observation of economist Thomas Sowell. The real minimum wage is always zero. Young California workers are paying the price.
Don't let a cold, sinus infection, or allergies ruin your day. Breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier with Navage. Visit Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, or a store near you.
Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer from the AM 560 Traffic Center.
In Bellwood, a crash on Mannheim North approaching the Ike 290 Edens. It's clear both directions. Kennedy inbound, it's 33 minutes from O'Hare into downtown. Outbound Kennedy, 28 to the airport from downtown. On the Eisenhower, that looks good. Stevenson clear. Dan Ryan, it's moving. It's starting to build, but it's moving well. Downtown, we've got a crash at Lower Wacker and Randolph. Traffic is brought to you by Turnkey.pro. Turnkey's real-time threat hunting defends you, defends your employees and your customers from vulnerable cyber attacks. Shield your complete infrastructure from malware, phishing scams, and other threats. Turnkey has solutions to protect your business. Visit Turnkey.pro. Reporting today from the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, I'm Joanne Jeanette.
Now, your official weather forecast.
Partly sunny, breezy, hot day today. The high at 95. It'll be partly cloudy, breezy, and warm tonight, low 77. A windy, hot day tomorrow. Partly sunny. Could run into a thunderstorm for the afternoon. The high at 95. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560. The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Hold up the... Who are...
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. The Donald and Company in Detroit for a Turning Point Action event to make a direct appeal, I guess, to some extent to black voters, to younger voters. Trump, sort of, his remarks were more or less boilerplate, what you've heard before, which is customary on the stump. It's nothing remarkable or unremarkable. It just is.
With the help of everyone here today, we're going to win the state of Michigan this November. We're going to fire crooked Joe Biden. We are going to evict the Biden crime family from the White House, and we are going to make America great again. Have you heard that expression?
And there was an interesting moment where you had one of the younger black pastors that was in attendance at the event. Remember, I know there's a lot of enthusiasm around these sorts of events. And, I mean, it's warranted. 1,500 people. It's a conference. You get some statements like you're about to hear from a young black pastor, and you're encouraged. And at least Trump is making the effort. They're doing the kind of campaign events they should be doing. So it's not critical. I'm not being critical of it. I'm just providing some context. Let's not get too oversold on the idea that there is some sort of revolt in the black community in Detroit on behalf of Trump any more than we should be sold on the idea that's happening in Chicago. Of course, it's more relevant in Detroit because Michigan's in play where Illinois is not.
President Trump, I'm so humbled that you would be here. President Obama never came to the hood, so to speak, right? President Joe Biden, he went to the big NAACP dinner, but he never came to the hood. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor.
Okay.
Yeah, and he said, I'm humbled. Thank you so much. It was a good moment for Trump. I mean, the pastor called it out. Because they won't come because they don't care about you. They just need your vote. And that's what was said in that moment, I thought, when I saw that.
Yeah, that's what was said in that moment, and it's been said in a lot of moments like that for a lot of years, and it really hasn't made a material difference. So the question is, will it this time?
Yeah, 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636, type in DA, then a quick comment.
The speaker at the conference who really brought the heat was Steve Bannon. Still trying to avoid his jail sentence, serving his jail sentence, I suppose. I think he has to the end of the month to report unless he gets some sort of stay. Bannon was the one who, sort of the wartime consigliere role that he likes to play, was the one that offered the cri de coeur for those in attendance and the larger MAGA world. See if you agree with what Bannon had to say, because he had more time on stage than Trump did.
Are we at war? Is this a political war to the knife? Are you prepared to leave it all on the battlefield in 2024? There's no other giant. You realize if they win, if they steal this election, because they can't win the election, right? No chance they can win it. If they steal this election and they fully intend to steal it, this republic ends. That's what the burden's on your shoulders.
We're in a political war to the knife, and they can only win by stealing it. And if they steal it and thus win, the republic ends. Yeah, I understand the galvanizing rhetoric in the context of a political campaign to get people motivated to work. But, I mean, do you subscribe to that characterization of this time and this election? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. I'm a little skeptical of end of days rhetoric, actually.
Yeah.
So this is where I part company with some people. Again, I understand being a bit hyperbolic to energize the masses, to get people out and doing what needs to be done with respect to chasing ballots and so forth. But, the end of days rhetoric and the idea that one group of people or one political party can stave off rapture by winning an election, I just tire of it because I hear it so often from the left. I don't want to hear it from the right.
Well, I hear it all the time. There's going to be a civil war if he doesn't win. They're threatening, don't threaten violence. Be the better person. I loved it when Trump was convicted.
I'm not saying he's threatening violence. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying that he is
victory or death.
Yeah, it's victory or death is a little bit over the top for me. What
I was going to say is that when Trump got convicted, I was glad that there were no riots because the left was just foaming at the mouth, waiting for that to happen, and it didn't happen.
Bannon also whipped up the crowd by offering the sort of prognostications that whip up a crowd like that.
On the 11th of July, they're going to sentence him for multiple years in prison. You understand that, right? You understand what they're doing in New York, and then they're going to limit how he can travel. Now it's going to be court supervised. Why is that? To steal the election. To steal the election.
So, number one, it's not at all clear to me that it makes political sense for Merchant to sentence him to multiple years in prison. That's number one. May happen.
It could happen, though. I mean.
Oh, I know it may happen, and I understand that this is a political calculation that Merchant will make because he's a corrupt judge. Mm-hmm. But it's not clear to me it makes political sense, let me say one more time, for them to do that. That's number one. Number two, it's not certain it makes political sense for them to limit his travel, limit his campaigning. He could be sentenced to prison. Serving the sentence could be stayed pending appeal. That's possible too, and the campaign rolls on. I mean, he could be
probation.
He could be pulled into prison that day.
Right, that moment.
It's possible. Right. It's not clear to me that makes political sense either. It also starts from this premise that was mentioned a lot during the Manhattan trial that I sort of reject, that preventing Trump from being on the campaign trail at his discretion, though illegitimate, I understand it's illegitimate. That would be illegitimate. and it was during the gag order and so forth, was illegitimate. But that it's their pathway to steal the election, that not having him at a rally in Detroit is how they're going to win Michigan. I don't think so. I don't think so. To the extent that there is chicanery afoot in these relevant jurisdictions, it's not going to come because Trump was able to do a couple of fewer rallies than he otherwise would have been able to do. That's not material. Material is the nuts and bolts of it. The early voting, the vote by mail, the GOTV programs. Yeah. So, I just struggle with Bannon's hyperventilation sometimes. He then went on to talk about what's going, the typical what's going to happen on day one. He talked about it like someone who believes that he will be quarterbacking this. I don't know. Maybe he will be. Maybe he and Trump have had a conversation. I don't know. Wouldn't be my choice. But here's what he said.
Trust me, on the afternoon of the 20th, we're also going to start the pick and shovel work to take apart the administrative state and to take on its rogue element, the Praetorian Guard, the deep state. We're going to run them all out of town. Merrick Garland, the senior members of DOJ that have prosecuted President Trump, Jack Smith. And this is not about vengeance. This is not about revenge. This is not about retribution. This is about saving this republic. We're going to use the Constitution. We're going to use the Constitution. We're going to use the Constitution in the rule of law to go after you and hold you accountable. November 5th is Judgment Day. January 20th, 2025 is Accountability Day.
January 20th is Accountability Day, and Steve Bannon is going to take apart the administrative state and its Praetorian Guard, the deep state. Using the Constitution, it was nice that he worked that in, that to hold people accountable. I mean, I hope that's true. Bob in Buffalo Grove.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Thanks for bringing up this topic. I think Bannon might be over the top. However, if you've forgotten, after Trump was elected in 2016, weren't there protests on Lafayette Park? And then we had the big outbreak of trying to impeach Trump right after he got elected. They started with the Russian collusion, you name it. We had 4 years of the left-wing media trying to get rid of him. So I see if Trump gets elected, we're going to have the same thing again with the left-wing media pushing to get him out somehow. So you have to take the House and the Senate to protect him. Your thoughts?
Well, thanks for the call, Bob. I mean, I agree with all that. But I suppose the question is Bannon the rhetorical positioning you want on the topic? Is he someone you want out front representing the value proposition of Trump 2.0? By the way, I mean, just a point of order for people who are measuring the drapes, and I know what I'm going to hear from some, they're just going to discount this out of the box, and it's interesting. You're hearing from some Trump people who say he's up 9 in Nevada, but then when they get information like I'm about to deliver, well, you can't trust the polling. You can only trust polling that has him up 9 in Nevada, but you can't trust polling anywhere else. Okay, well, it's an issue. I mean, this is about real world, so right. You understand the dynamic. We all understand the dynamic and how close this potentially could be, how close it is right now. The 538 blog, which is very data-centric and poll-centric.
Yes, they're all about numbers.
And again, they were wrong in 2016, but they were wrong just because 95% of the polling was wrong that had Trump losing the election, within the margin of error, but still losing. And so they remember infamously, I think it was Hillary Clinton going into election night had a 99% chance to win. Well, I mean, sometimes 1 in 100 shots come in too, by the way. Not often, because they're 1 in 100 shots.
Right.
But sometimes. So they did 100 simulations of the polling, of the electoral count. Biden wins 53 out of 100 times. Trump won 47 out of 100 times. And it ranged, too, because you run these simulations. It ranged from Biden winning an electoral blowout to Trump winning an electoral blowout. So, that's how close they have it. It's a simulation. It's not gospel. It is a vibe as to where the election is right now, nothing more. But it does tell you, it should tell you, that things are very close. They're very close. Clay in Libertyville.
Good morning, Dan Davey. The reason why I enjoy your show is because I have to Google some words every now and then. Specifically this morning, Shakespeare. I'm not ashamed to admit I did not know what that word meant.
Prestidigitation. That's another, if that helps you.
And please spell it correctly.
Yeah.
We are the party of logic and reasoning. Is it going to be the end of the world if Biden wins another 4 years? Probably not. Am I going to go buy more guns and bullets and probably gold and silver? Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, thanks, guys.
Thanks for the call, Clay.
I just want a secure border. And I think a lot of Americans want the same, but also Black Americans feel neglected because they're giving millions and millions, billions of dollars to people who are here illegally.
Maybe.
And I think that could kick the hornet's nest.
Maybe that's a difference maker. Maybe that does keep Trump where some of the polling, going back to polling, has him in swing states in the high teens and low 20s with Black voters, and that would be a difference maker in states like Michigan and Pennsylvania, North Carolina. There's no question.
Are they getting illegals there in Michigan, Pennsylvania, North Carolina to the extent that we are? Because that might change some of the swing voters or independents' minds.
Marvin, Burlington, Wisconsin.
Good morning. I don't think there's much difference in O'Banion's rhetoric than what you hear on the left. So, as far as
but that's not a compliment, is it?
No, it's not. And it really, I think I would like them to educate, maybe remind the people in Detroit, mostly union members, that with this EV push, they're going to lose jobs. Yeah. So the union may tell them, you got to vote Democrat, but they need to be reminded of what the consequences of those are because they don't think them through. They blindly follow their union leadership, and this is what will happen to them. And they from the parts manufacturers, all the little intricate parts that come from China and elsewhere. They're voting against their own interests, and I think they really need, instead of these rah-rah rallies, is some educational rallies, just nothing complicated, but just basic economic principles, so they remind them about how things actually work. And a prime example of that is the fast food industry in California. I mean, if they could just open up their minds just a little bit and let some sunshine in, they might come to a better understanding of what the real world works and what they need to vote for, if they're actually voting for their own interests.
Thanks for the call, Marvin. Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. Out in Philadelphia.
Oh, yeah, this is a great story.
That's a city and a state that matters. The OCF coffee houses, the employees at the OCF coffee houses, there's 3 of them, they decided to unionize, which is their right, no problem.
How'd that work out for him, Dan?
Well, they didn't contemplate that the employers also have some rights in this world, and so this is how that went. A little bit of flavor of the protesting outside the now shuttered OCF coffee houses in Philly.
Ori, you can't hide. We all see your greedy side. Former employees of OCF Coffee House rallied outside of the now closed Fairmount Cafe on Tuesday.
We've been paid really bad wages, and this was our attempt to get better wages and make the place that we love better.
The coffee shops are owned by OCF Realty. The real estate brokerage announced the closures to employees in an email which included 2 other locations in South Philly. Workers like Alex Simpson say they were shocked.
I am pretty crushed, especially when it's such a blatant response to our union process. This comes a week after we publicly announced our union.
Right. I am pretty shocked and saddened that I don't get to keep my job where I'm being paid subhuman wages. Isn't that the claim? But at least I had a job and took that job voluntarily. To Marvin's point, this is education, and letting the left speak in its own words as they get hammered by reality. And just understand what things are and what they are not. It's great to have rallies for the base. It's fine. It's good. Energize the base. No problem. They're the workers. But don't confuse a rally for the base with a play towards the hoi polloi. That is not part of your base. The superficial selection segment of the electorate. And I agree with him, actually, that there's different messaging and different programming for different cohorts of this diverse electorate that America features. And the turning point rallies is fine. What we don't see enough of from the Republican Party is the educational piece. There's a lot that could be done there. And some of it's done through different outlets and social media, and I get it. But in an organized fashion, to really be thoughtful about programming that could, over time, persuade. Just as the relentless push, for example, school choice, has over time persuaded majorities of minority families in urban centers that, that makes a lot of sense. I would like the same choices to go to better schools, to send my kids to better schools that the wealthy and the politically connected have. And so there's buy-in there, but it took time.
By the way, those baristas were making anywhere between $20 to $25 an hour.
That's subhuman.
Oh, yeah. And they were all wearing their Palestinian scarves, too, during their protests.
Of course they were. No,
they are so woke. They are down with that struggle, too, Dan.
Well, now they have a lot more time to free Palestine. We have a lot more time to free Palestine.
Free Palestine.
Put that to a chant. David Winnetka.
Hey, good guys. A few points here. If anything, is this I've learned in the last 4 years is that evil, it just seems to be stronger, so much stronger than good. And they've just poised everything perfectly for such a horribleness to, right around the corner. So I would think very much that they would want Trump in power simply to look like when he was in, he got blamed if it rained. And now that they've set up everything so much evil they've let in, which is bound to happen, but they want it to happen on his watch.
Well, thanks for the call, David. I don't think so. I think they want to use him to keep their watch. I mean, he got blamed for everything after he won in 2016. They didn't want him to win. They didn't expect him to win.
No,
There's too much at stake, and there's too many interests to be served to allow Trump to get back in. They do not want him to win to quote-unquote take the blame. That's not their play. No.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Speaking of immigration and the border and the heroic migrants, we'll update some developments on that score, including Trump's tweet in the direction of one Illinois governor at 6:06.
Today, we're going to have very hot and humid conditions, a high near 100 degrees, believe it or not, in some parts in Illinois. And then this week, it's going to be hot and humid all week long with only a chance of rain on Saturday and on Sunday. And later, Dan, we want to find out what you did to John Cass. It's now 6 a.m., WIND Chicago.
Using the AM 560 mobile app.
From breaking news and
I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. The American journalist who's been jailed as an accused spy for more than a year.
Wall Street Journal reporter Evan Gershkovich will be in court on June 26th for the beginning of his criminal trial. It'll take place in the Russian city where he was arrested, Yekaterinburg. And as is usual with espionage allegations, the case will be heard behind closed doors. The 32-year-old was detained in March last year, suspected of gathering intelligence about a military facility for the CIA.
Fox's Jonathan Savage. Gershkovich denies he's a spy. The U.S. is demanding his release, calling him wrongfully detained. Israel's prime minister is disbanding his war cabinet after political rival Benny Gantz resigned from it, critical of a lack of plan for Gaza, where the war against Hamas still rages. But the Israeli military is going to pause the fighting during the daytime along a 7-mile route in Rafah to allow more humanitarian aid to Palestinian civilians, as Israel also deals with another Iran-backed group firing rockets from across the Lebanon border.
Hezbollah's increasing aggression
is bringing us to the brink of what could be a wider escalation, one that could have devastating consequences for Lebanon and the entire region.
Israeli Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari, a man on U.S. illegally arrested Friday in Oklahoma, is facing extradition to Maryland, where he'll be charged in the murder of a woman last year, Rachel Marin. The family's attorney, Randolph Rice, told Fox this morning.
Right now, they're just incredibly relieved that they caught this man.
Victor Antonio Martinez Hernandez is also suspected in a home invasion in Los Angeles, attacking a girl and her mother. It's going to be a very hot week from the Midwest to the Northeast.
Heat alert stretching from the plains across the Great Lakes, the Ohio River Valley, in towards the Northeast. So potential record highs today for Syracuse, Erie, Pennsylvania, Chicago as well.
And Fox meteorologist Janice Dean says it could hit 100 degrees in Manchester, New Hampshire by Thursday. America's listening to
Good morning. It's 79 degrees in Chicago on AM 560 The Answer. I'm Crystal Blue in the AM 560 newsroom. Partly cloudy today, slight chance of thunderstorms, high near 94. The Sangamon County coroner is revealing the names of the two young people killed in apparent murder-suicide in Springfield last week. Robert Terry Jr. and Renee Terry were found dead last Thursday inside their home in the 1800 block of Post Oak Court. An autopsy determined that Renee died from multiple gunshot wounds. Robert died from a single self-inflicted gunshot wound. One man is dead and 4 other people are hurt following a fire in Chicago's South Shore neighborhood. Police say the blaze broke out early Saturday in a 3-flat apartment in the 2400 block of East 78th Street. One man was pronounced dead at the scene. A man, woman, and 2-year-old boy and 7-year-old boy were sent to the hospital. The older boy was in critical condition, and the cause of the fire is under investigation. Flight attendants are working hard to negotiate better contract terms with airlines amid the busy summer travel season. Garrett Tenney at O'Hare International Airport has more.
These negotiations for a new contract have been going on for more than 5 years now, going back to before the pandemic. And this week, the two sides are in Washington meeting with federal mediators to give the talks one last chance before flight attendants walk off the job. The soonest that could happen would be late next month. Flight attendants at dozens of airports were picketing as part of a worldwide day of action, since both United and Alaska Airlines also have ongoing negotiations with their flight attendants. The biggest sticking point in the negotiations is pay. Inflation has gone through the roof over the past 5 years, but flight attendant salaries haven't really changed. The average starting salary for a flight attendant is now around $27,000, $28,000.
American Airlines flight attendants at DFW International Airport in Texas picketed after the CEO tried to give them a pay raise without an official agreement. News is brought to you by Blue Star Security. Support our police and hire the police to personally protect you and your business. Visit online to schedule a free security consultation at bluestarsecuриtyllc.com. That's bluestarsecuриtyllc.com. A check of the roads coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
Charlie Kirk knows why Biden wants to debate.
It is now proven that the internal polling in the Biden campaign means he knows he's losing. His own internal tracking is not on pace, and if the election were held today, Joe Biden does not feel good about his chances. There is no other reason.
The Charlie Kirk Show. Afternoons at 1, right before Sebastian Gorka at 3 on AM 560. The Answer.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
I've been watching it on TV, and then my son has my husband, and I guess he just called up and surprised me. He had ordered it, and I didn't expect it for me to notice it until right away. I kind of shocked my husband when I told him. I've been taking it like a little over a week. I'm taking it, and then I can already notice the difference. I do feel very good. I can't even put it into words. I feel really good every day. I don't wake up grouchy. I'd love everybody to take it. I think it's wonderful.
Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer. And for a limited time, get 35% off your first order, plus $10 off any additional sets. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Hey guys, Donald Trump Jr. here. Let me ask you this. Does inflation feel worse than what we're being told in the news? That's because the official inflation rate doesn't tell the whole story. Since January 2021, the cost of living has increased by 17.9%. You can't get that money back. But what you can do is stop your losses today. How? By diversifying your savings into a gold IRA from my friends at Birch Gold Group. When you're done, your money will be parked in a tangible asset with a proven history. To see how it works, get your free info kit on gold IRAs by texting the word PROTECT to 989898. I trust Birch Gold. They provide an easy process to roll over your 401k or IRA into gold without losing your tax advantaged status. So text PROTECT to 989898. That's PROTECT to the number 989898 to get your free info kit on gold IRAs from Birch Gold.
Message and data rates may apply.
Over the years, Eric has built a great company. He's grown his business, increased his client base, and now has multiple locations. But there's one thing that Eric should be concerned about, and that's his network. While Eric's company has grown, his network evolved into a mess and has left him vulnerable to cyber attacks like ransomware that can fold up his business permanently. He thought his basic network that evolved from years ago was enough, but it's not just his server that's at risk. Cyber attacks affect the full infrastructure of a business, right down to customer data, employee devices, and even their smartphones. So Eric came to Turnkey to help protect his business, his team, and his clients. Thanks to Turnkey, Eric's network was overhauled and thoroughly secured, moving forward with real-time threat hunting protection. Turnkey has the solutions to protect your business. Want to build and improve your network? Turnkey can help with cutting-edge IT solutions. Start a conversation today. Visit turnkey.pro. That's turnkey.pro.
Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer. From the AM 560 Traffic Center.
In the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchek taking a look at the roads. Inbound Edens looks good. The Kennedy's starting to back up just a bit central to Montrose. 21 minutes in from O'Hare to downtown. On the inbound Eisenhower, that is wide open so far, 390 into the post office. Stevenson slowing just a bit at 28 minutes from 355 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Dan Ryan, 13 minutes now, 95th on in. That's tight 79th to 71st Street. Express lanes are slowing down Pershing to the Stevenson. Skyway's fine, 57 looks good. Inbound Ford stop and go 103rd into the Dan Ryan. DuSable Lakeshore Drive remains clear. Northbound Tri-State slowing Reagan to the Eisenhower. And there's road work westbound Reagan right near the DeKalb Oasis. Traffic is a service of scholarships.com. Imagine the news that your college student doesn't have years and years of school debt. It's avoidable when you join scholarships.com for free to find accurate and vetted scholarships personalized for your student. That's scholarships.com. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now a check of your forecast from the National Weather Service.
Get the latest weather, traffic. Now, your official weather forecast.
Partly sunny, breezy, and hot. The high today at 95. Partly cloudy, breezy evening. And look for a low of 77. Partly sunny, windy, a hot one tomorrow. Thunderstorm in spots for the afternoon. The high tomorrow, 95. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Border security and immigration policy was central to the political discourse over the weekend, will continue to be. And unfortunately, we have another completely anticipated tragedy to report. Preventable crime. Harford County, Maryland Sheriff Jeffrey Gawler on the murder of 37-year-old mom. I believe it was a rape and murder. 37-year-old mom Rachel Morin by an illegal immigrant from El Salvador. Here's Harford County, Maryland Sheriff Jeffrey Gawler.
Rachel was not his first victim. And it's my understanding that this suspect, this monster, fled to the United States illegally after committing the brutal murder of a young woman in El Salvador a month early in January of 2023. Once in our country, and likely emboldened by his anonymity, he brutally attacked a 9-year-old girl and her mother during a home invasion in March of 2023 in Los Angeles. And as everyone I believe is aware, that was our first DNA match linking Rachel's case to the Los Angeles case. It has been a fear of mine that once we identified this suspect, the result would be exactly this. And I want to now direct these comments to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue and to every member in both chambers of Congress. We are 1,800 miles away here in Harford County. We are 1,800 miles away from the southern border, and the American citizens are not safe because of failed immigration policies. This is the second time in just 2 years that an innocent Harford County woman has lost her life to a criminal in our country illegally. Let me repeat that. 1,800 miles from the southern border, and this is the second woman in our county to be killed by an illegal alien. Suspects, in both cases, they are suspects from El Salvador with ties to criminal gangs. Should not be happening. Victor Hernandez did not come here to make a better life for himself or for his family. He came here to escape the crime he committed in El Salvador. He came here and murdered Rachel, and God willing, no one else. But that should have never been allowed to happen.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro, answer line 64636. So I'll check if our text line's up and running. This town, by the way, there's only 250 residents in the town, and they've had 2 women in this fairly small sized town killed by illegals in less than a year. Does that sink in now?
Well, Harford County is
Harford
like
County.
250,000 people.
Yeah, I know, but that's not like it's a Chicago where it's
not
millions.
Huge. No,
That's
it's not huge.
No.
The question is the electorate going to sort of treat this the way they treat crime? And I mean domestic crime that is urban-centered. How the suburbs treat crime in Chicago is what I'm saying, for example. Which is to say...
happens.
It's just metropolitan living.
And they picked up this monster. He was at a bar in Tulsa, Oklahoma. On Friday night, they said he was just casually sitting there having his drink. Not a care in the world. And that's after he molested a 9-year-old girl in Los Angeles. It was a home invasion, and then beat up her mom. Didn't get arrested. Then went and killed this woman. She was going for a walk in the woods.
Well,
and then he's sitting in a bar in Tulsa.
He murdered a woman in El Salvador, so perhaps he shouldn't have been allowed in.
Okay. Yeah, he was not properly vetted, people.
So my question.
Yes.
How is this going to be received? Because I know this is topping the charts of issues, but so does violent crime. And then you see the same sorts of mayors and prosecutors and governors elected in those states. So yeah, violent crime's a problem in Chicago, but I certainly don't hold anybody in charge responsible. And that's the attitude of the electorate, certainly in blue states, but even swing states. Look at the power structure in Pennsylvania. Yeah. You've got a Democrat governor of North Carolina. You've got a Democrat governor of Wisconsin. You've got a Democrat governor of Arizona. These are swing states. Arizona's a border state. And Katie Hobbs is, trying to recast herself as something other than the open borders Paul that she used to be. But my question is, you hear all this, and does it just become something where people, Lincoln Riley's a tragedy, Rachel Morin, oh, that's terrible what happened to that woman. Just like you say, it's terrible every weekend when some preteen is caught in the crossfire in Chicago. But I mean, it doesn't change the way that you think about these issues, and it certainly doesn't change your behavior at the polls. That's my question.
Well, okay.
Is this a mirage, this immigration issue, as the path to victory for Trump and congressional Republicans? That's something maybe some consideration should be for which some consideration should be given.
Well, Rachel Morin, Lincoln Riley, their names need to be said, and those topics need to be discussed at the debate a week from Thursday. Trump cannot let this slide. He has got to hammer President Biden on this issue.
Well, yeah.
And what's he going to do? No, I want Biden to say her name. Say Rachel Moore and say her name. Acknowledge what your policies are doing. They are killing Americans. Leaving 5 kids without their mother, for God's sakes. I mean, it's devastating. He dragged her through the woods. What he did to her, it's just disgusting. And where's the accountability?
Illinois, new state law goes into effect July 1, altering a decade-old program that provides undocumented immigrants, that would be illegal immigrants, the ability to obtain a driver's license. Pritzker signed it into law, giving migrants the opportunity, illegal immigrants, to give it the opportunity to get a standard 4-year license that serves as a valid form of ID and remains compliant with Federal Real ID Act. Good. We don't want them to not be able to fly.
Yeah.
The new bill
already doing without any IDs.
The new bill goes into effect stipulating anyone attempt to get a license must pass a driving exam, possess auto insurance, and prove at least 1 year of state residency. Driver's licenses for illegal immigrants will replace the current temporary visitor driver's license implemented in 2013. More than 300,000 individuals in Illinois across the state have the temporary driver's license, which lasts 3 years. Now they can upgrade to the permanent one, which lasts 4, as well they should, because there's no difference between people here illegally and people here legally.
I'm sorry. Did you say 300,000
Yeah.
have that?
Yeah.
Dear Lord. And then they'll get their regular driver's license, and then next thing, they'll be able to vote.
Trump had some words for Governor Spalding on Truth Social over the weekend. He must have heard some of the shots Jelly Belly was taking at him. Sloppy J.B. Pritzker, the rotund governor from the once great state of Illinois who makes Chris Christie look like a male model and whose family wanted him out of the business because he was so pathetic at helping them run it, has presided over the destruction and disintegration of Illinois at levels never seen before in any state. Crime is rampant and people are sadly fleeing Illinois. Unless a change is made at the governor's level, Illinois can never be great again. Trump on Jelly Belly. Interesting he would take the time. He's sort of like Neil and Heat. He's going to make the time to go after people that he wants to go after, even if there's not any sort of political benefit. I mean, I think there is in advance of the DNC and just responding in kind to Jelly Belly's overheated rhetoric in the direction of Trump recently for the purpose of deflecting attention away from what Illinois has become, as Trump properly described.
I mean, rant after rant. He's homophobic. He's misogynistic. Like, how is he homophobic?
So anybody want to tackle my immigration supposition? My concern that immigration is a mirage and that it's important to people. It's drawing a lot of attention because of the imagery, because of, unfortunately, terrible stories of preventable crime like Rachel Morin in Maryland, like Laken Riley in Georgia. But it gets people's attention on both sides, and it doesn't really move the needle to benefit one or the other. Even though 85% of voters essentially say they're with the Republican, the standard Republican position on the issue, it's just not the animating factor in the selection that will be made by the superficial voters in the middle. You have any concern that that border security and focusing on illegal immigration may not provide the payoff that it would appear to provide based on some of the polling? I say this because if it really was that decided in favor of Republicans, and the numbers on these issues are off the charts, if it really was animating the electorate, and particularly the squishy, superficial middle, then I don't think this race would be close. And it is. So what does that say? Maybe that it's not being tackled correctly from a messaging perspective. Trying to do too much, and you need to make the main thing the main thing. Or maybe it's just one of those things that people just sort of accept as part of the rich tapestry of life in America or life in metropolitan America. But of course, it's not limited to the metropolitan areas. However, once it gets outside the metropolitan areas to exurban and rural areas, well, those are already places that are red. How much more red can they get? See what I'm saying? Corey Woodlawn, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Thanks for taking the call, Dan. Morning, Amy. I think Amy is right. We need to create a website where every woman and American citizen has been raped or harmed by these illegal aliens to force them to say their name. And also, I do want to tackle your statement that you made. Squishy middle care because they think they're insulated. But the poor and the people that are in vulnerable communities in Chicago, they are very upset with these influx of migrants running around their neighborhood. I'm at 6 o'clock in the morning in Woodlawn and walking down alleys. What the hell are they doing up at 6 a.m.? This is getting out of control.
Okay. Thanks for the call, Corey. Well, I mean, and I hope that's right, and I hope it at least moves those who were steadfast supporters of the left to the neutral position. Because even if they don't show up for Biden and company, that's a problem for Biden and company.
Yeah. And everyone that you talk to, guys, that might not be registered to vote or maybe, complaining, because I'm around some people who never voted before in their lives. Grab their phone, find where they can vote, and give them that information.
Well, the other thing is focus their attention while you're at it, if you're going to engage at that level. When I hear, like, at these town halls, people complaining about the migrants, don't complain about the migrants. They were invited here by the politicians you supported.
I remind them of that.
You have to focus attention on the politicians. There's no need to demonize people coming from around the world who've been invited to come here by the politicians that you support at the federal, the state, and the local level. They've been invited here. You may not have agreed to the invitation, but that's what happened. So focus on the people who made the invitation. Don't focus on the people who accepted it. And then pay particular attention to how difficult it is to vet people when you just invite them en masse, and then you have people get victimized. You have people who become crime victims when it could have easily been prevented. So there's that piece of it too. But I mean, because what they'll do is, and what Biden will do today, you're othering, it's demonizing people just trying to make a better life for themselves. Don't get pulled down into that rabbit hole. I'm absolutely not doing that. I absolutely understand why people want to come to America because it's the greatest nation on earth. I get it. We can't do it the way that you want to do it. We can't just send an invitation out to 7 billion people and say, come whenever you want, however you want, call your own shot. We can't do that because when you do that, people get murdered. You let people into this country that we all agree we wouldn't have otherwise let in. It's real simple. Don't let them get you into that corner of having to be on defense about demonization. Don't let them play identity politics with us. Focus on what they did, what they have enabled, how they hurt you, meaning the political ruling class, with their invitation. Dan and Glen Ellen. Hey, Dan.
Oh, hi, Dan and Amy.
Yep.
Great show this morning. I can't agree with you more. The numbers were the answer. We'd already have a change in Chicago. I mean, we thought, 5, 6 years, 10 years ago, you thought, well, how bad is it going to have to get to make people change? I don't think we really realize how bad it's going to have to get to make a change.
100%.
I don't think. I think it's way beyond what we think it's going to be.
We're not there.
I never imagine us getting this far.
Right. How bad is it now? And we're not there yet. I don't even think we're close.
No, I agree. I don't think we're close. And I just kind of throw my hands up at numbers. Okay, great. An illegal, and we're going to deport them. And I say the same thing. If I was in El Salvador, I'd do everything I could to get here. I mean, I don't really blame the people trying to get here.
Right.
It's the politicians bringing them in that we got to focus on. Forget the illegals. Yeah, you want to deport them. But I don't really think about them. I think about the policies that got them here.
Thanks, Dan. Appreciate it. Yeah, I think that's the play. Maybe that's a little bit more message discipline in that direction grabs a little bit more attention. Maybe.
Well, I mean,
but you should be workshopping. How do we have this general agreement with us?
Okay.
85% of people agree with us, and we can't seem to close the deal with a significant percentage of those who agree. We're not doing something we could be doing, apparently. So a little bit of reflection on this, and a little bit of workshopping on the messaging approach. It's not enough. I mean, again, I understand, and I understand the inclination to be morally indignant. Laken Riley, Rachel Morin, other people who've been victimized. I get it. But just focus the moral indignation where it belongs. Yes, of course it belongs with the criminal, but the criminal enabler, the policies, those who extended that invitation. Maybe that gets a little bit more attention. It gets you away from people. Remember, you got to reach people where they are. Gets you a little bit away from people who are afraid to be called a racist. People are afraid of words like xenophobe and racist. Don't want to be seen that way. Don't want anybody to say that about them. And so this is a way for them to be comfortable with. Remember, this entire election, in my view, is making that superficial, squishy voter saying, getting him or her to the place where it's okay to vote for Trump.
Right.
I know you don't. I know you don't like him.
I
know all of the character flaws and the things that make you uncomfortable and the social stigmas the left has attached to it and so on and so forth. All the fear that they have instilled.
He's not going to stay in office forever.
You just have to get them to okay. So think about massaging the way you talk about these issues to those people who are movable to okay. They're never going to be at a Turning Point rally in Detroit.
No.
But they're movable to okay, and we're just trying to get them across to, we're just trying to get them to that place by November 5th.
I just don't. Forget who Trump, Biden. What do you want the future of your country to be? If you're upset that illegals are in every street corner right now, if Biden wins, it's going to get a whole lot worse. We're going to run out of street corners for them to be on. And these are people who came here legally, who do not want and probably will never admit that they voted for Trump, but they're going to vote for Trump in November. At least they're moving toward that way.
Glenn in Orlando.
Yeah, good morning. I still remember Kate Stanley out of California and that tragic event.
Yeah, sure.
And I don't understand where are all the women's groups supporting women. Women are at risk in this country. Women and the elderly are at risk for these predators. And why isn't anyone standing up for this? I just don't get it.
Thanks for the call, Glenn. Tom in Blue Island.
Hey, good morning, Dan, Amy. I had called maybe 6-8 months back, maybe a little longer, time flies, about the area 87th and Racine that I had worked at numerous times and saw more and more, people that obviously looked like they were migrants. We work in a lot of the east and west and south sides, and I'm seeing that everywhere. And these people are not in Beverly or not in Mount Greenwood. And that's because that's where I'm from. And so to piggyback on what Corey said, it's these people, it's being thrown right in their faces that live in these neighborhoods. And as you say, Dan, if they're not willing to do anything about it, what can you do? Because it's not Beverly and Mount Greenwood that these people are wandering around in.
Thanks, Tom.
The more you'll know. This is Chicago's Morning Answer. Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Balance of Nature supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
My name is Dr. Zhang. I'm a doctor of podiatric medicine.
My name is Todd. I'm a paramedic firefighter. I've been on the job for 28 years.
My name is Dr. Peter Munda. I'm a chiropractor in New York, Long Island.
I've been taking Balance of Nature for 23 years.
I love Balance of Nature, and this is definitely a product that I would recommend to other people, and I'll never stop taking it.
How many 70-year-old pictures you know? As far as Balance of Nature goes, I'll keep taking this stuff until the day I die,
I'm almost 55 years old, and because I have so much vitality, I can really enjoy the great outdoors. Our bodies are kind of like machines. If you do not give the machine the proper nutrition, it's not going to work very well. Simple as that.
Go to balanceofnature.com and get 35% off plus $10 off any additional sets as a preferred customer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Over the years, Eric has built a great company. He's grown his business, increased his client base, and now has multiple locations. But there's one thing that Eric should be concerned about, and that's his network. While Eric's company has grown, his network evolved into a mess and has left him vulnerable to cyber attacks like ransomware that can fold up his business permanently. He thought his basic network that evolved from years ago was enough, but it's not just his server that's at risk. Cyber attacks affect the full infrastructure of a business, right down to customer data, employee devices, and even their smartphones. So Eric came to Turnkey to help protect his business, his team, and his clients. Thanks to Turnkey, Eric's network was overhauled and thoroughly secured, moving forward with real-time threat hunting protection. Turnkey has the solutions to protect your business. Want to build and improve your network? Turnkey can help with cutting-edge IT solutions. Start a conversation today. Visit turnkey.pro. That's turnkey.pro.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
The story of San Francisco firefighter Robert Shin at 6:36.
Now let's head into the newsroom. Crystal Blue is in for Mike Scott.
Good morning. It's 79 degrees in Chicago on AM 560 The Answer. I'm Crystal Blue in the AM 560 newsroom. Partly cloudy today, slight chance for thunderstorms and a high near 94. A Springfield man is dead following a motorcycle crash. James Hoskins died after the accident Friday on North Dirksen Parkway in Springfield. An autopsy is scheduled for today. His death remains under investigation. A man is charged in a deadly shooting in Joliet earlier this month. Police say Fernando Contreras was found shot to death June 1st in a home on the 400 block of Craker Avenue. 2 more men suffered gunshot wounds. Detectives later identified John Hernandez as a suspect. He was arrested over the weekend at his home and charged with murder and aggravated battery with a firearm. Thornton Township Supervisor and Dolton Mayor Tiffany Haynard is facing a new lawsuit. Former Thornton Township employee Dwayne Thrash is accusing Haynard of wrongful termination. The plaintiff says he was fired after he refused to take part in a scheme proposed by the superintendent and her assistant, Keith Freeman. A previous lawsuit was filed by a barbershop owner against the Village of Dolton, claiming his business license was improperly denied. News is brought to you by Woodland Windows and Doors in Roselle. Brighten your home this summer and make the rooms in your house look bigger with fiberglass replacement windows by Infinity from Marvin. Schedule an appointment by June 30th for 10% off installation. Visit woodlandwindows.com today. A check of the roads coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
Dr. Sebastian Gorka says we are witnessing a sham.
The leader of the opposition is sitting as we speak in a courtroom, and the witness arrayed against him stole from Donald Trump. They are lying for money. They are lying for power.
America First with Dr. Sebastian Gorka. Afternoons at 3, right before Sean Thompson at 4 on AM 560. The Answer.
Support our police and hire the police to personally protect you. You've watched the news. Rising crime has been affecting our everyday lives in Illinois more and more these days. Blue Star Security can protect you, your business, or your place of worship. Blue Star Security is the only security company in Chicago with over 900 off-duty police officers, all W-2 employees.
I'm Anthony Barchetto, president of Blue Star Security and a 20-year law enforcement veteran. The Blue Star team is made up of over 900 state-certified active and retired law enforcement professionals. We serve businesses and private organizations with supply chain and special event security, and also protect our loved ones at places of worship and schools all across the Chicagoland area. Blue Star Security's technology allows mobilization of off-duty officers quickly and efficiently. Our primary mission is to provide unparalleled protective services for each assignment with integrity, while maintaining our commitment to community service in the Chicagoland area.
Visit online to schedule a free security consultation at bluestarsecurityllc.com. That's bluestarsecurityllc.com.
Balance of Nature supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
My name is Dr. Zhang. I'm a doctor of podiatric medicine.
My name is Todd. I'm a paramedic firefighter. I've been on the job for 28 years.
My name is Dr. Peter Munda. I'm a chiropractor in New York, Long Island.
I've been taking Balance of Nature for 23 years.
I love Balance of Nature, and this is definitely a product that I would recommend to other people, and I'll never stop taking it.
How many 70-year-old pitchers you know? As far as balance of nature goes, I'll keep taking this stuff until the day I die, you know?
I'm almost 55 years old, and because I have so much vitality, I can really enjoy the great outdoors. Our bodies are kind of like machines. If you do not give the machine the proper nutrition, it's not going to work very well. Simple as that.
Go to balanceofnature.com and get 35% off plus $10 off any additional sets as a preferred customer by using discount code Chicago.
Is your IRS tax debt making you feel anxious? The professionals at Allies Tax Relief are ready to negotiate your fresh start. Call them now, 800-230-5174.
Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer from the AM 560 Traffic Center.
Tri-State 294 at I-80, a crash blocking the left lane. Austin Boulevard in Oak Park is shut down between Harvard and Harrison. This is due to a serious crash. The Eisenhower inbound, it's already 50 minutes from 390 to Congress. And that crash at the Austin, on Austin, has the Austin exit ramp blocked. They've shut down that completely. Kennedy, it is 35 minutes in from O'Hare. Outbound Kennedy is 30 to the airport. Traffic is a service of reviveyourlawn.com. Don't DIY. YRYL. Revive your lawn with the landscape and design experts. Outdoor patio and kitchens, hardscapes, softscapes, lightings, and more. Get an instant online estimate today at reviveyourlawn.com. Reporting today from the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, I'm Joanne Jeanette.
Now, your official weather forecast.
Partly sunny, breezy, hot day today. The high at 95. It'll be partly cloudy, breezy, and warm tonight, low 77. A windy, hot day tomorrow. Partly sunny. Could run into a thunderstorm for the afternoon. The high at 95. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560. The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Fox Valley Coins. No waiting, no problems, no charge for in-store verbal appraisals. Bring your gold or silver in today. FoxValleyCoins.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560. The Answer.
All right, June 27th is the date for the first presidential debate between Joe Biden and Donald Trump. The whole country will be watching, and we want you to watch the debate with us. We're hosting a debate watch party at Marcello's in Northbrook. Join us for a dinner buffet beginning at 6:30 p.m. Stay for the debate, which begins at 8 p.m. We will be there providing pre-debate and post-debate commentary. Sean Thompson will also be there broadcasting live from 4 to 7 p.m. So get your tickets today to join us for the debate watch party, June 27th at Marcello's in Northbrook, 560theanswer.com/debate. Excuse me. That's 560theanswer.com/debate.
All right. So Robert Shin was a firefighter in San Francisco. Robert Shin is Asian. You know where this is going. And he got into a situation with a colleague of his, also a firefighter, black. This is a rather remarkable story about how the San Francisco Fire Department meted out internal justice in this case. So here's what happened, the local ABC affiliate reporting.
San Francisco firefighter Robert Muhammad had a family crisis in July 2021. We won't discuss details out of respect for his privacy, but his colleagues were concerned about him.
People offered to cook for him, people offered to work his shifts for free, and he rebuffed my offers. But I've never had a conflict with him prior to this.
6 months after that family crisis, firefighter Gabriel Shin tells me Muhammad called to ask who in the firehouse was talking about his private business.
Robert, I said, I take ownership for speaking about that, because we were concerned for you, but I'm not going to tell you who told me. And he said the next time he sees me, he's going to hurt me.
He said that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, he used a pejorative, but yes.
Well, I'd like to know what he said.
The next time I see you, I'm going to you up. That's exactly what he said.
Court records show that 2 days after that phone call, Robert Muhammad used a computer at Station 25 to retrieve Shin's work schedule and his home address, and left the station with what's called a hydrant spanner, a heavy brass wrench measuring 15 inches that's used to turn the water on and off. Muhammad drove across the bridge to Shin's home in Oakland and found him out front sweeping the sidewalk.
I heard somebody say, "Are you going to tell me who told you?" And I turned around, I said, "Robert, what are you doing here?" He said, "Who are you protecting?" I said, "I forgot." And then he reached into his back pocket, he pulled out the large brass spanner, and he started swinging at my head.
A witness called 911.
911 emergency, what are you reporting?
Yeah, somebody's being beat with a wrench on 9th Avenue and East 19th Street.
Court records allege Muhammad swung the wrench at Shin's head approximately 12 times, breaking his arms as he tried to protect himself, giving him a concussion. One blow sent Shin's glasses across the street, he said. The attack stopped only after a neighbor who works against human trafficking pulled a handgun and confronted Muhammad.
And then he slowly dropped the spanner and looked backwards and walked away towards his car, which is approximately a block and a half away.
Sorry, transpose the names there. Gabriel Shin, Robert Muhammad. So Gabriel Shin is Asian and Robert Muhammad is black. You heard what happened. You've got the 911. You've got the story that Gabriel Shin is telling going unchallenged. So in addition to criminal charges that Robert Muhammad is facing for his assault, attempted murder of Gabriel Shin, there are internal fire department matters. So what happened?
Robert Muhammad never faced discipline and never missed a paycheck.
You have an individual that the chief has allowed to continue working all this time, continue drawing taxpayer salary all this time after attempting to murder a fellow firefighter.
Gabriel Shin's attorney. Gabriel Shin on what he was told to do by fire department brass.
The first person called me and said, "Hey, is there any way we can work this out?" The second person called me and said, "You can't charge him. You've got to drop the charges. That man's got a family." And of course, I was angry. I said, he just tried to kill me.
The lawsuit says they treated Shin with startling prejudice and Muhammad with baffling favor from the outset because they saw one difference. Shin is Asian and Muhammad is black.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro, answer line.
And you can see in the video, that you just played, the bloody outfit. He attacked him. You could see the wrench that he used. It's a pretty big wrench. And then you could see the aftermath. And that guy's still a firefighter?
Yeah.
That guy's not behind bars?
Well, there's multiple issues here. That's one of them. Here's one more.
Within days of that, Chief Nicholson and those deputies took away his pay. They took away his health insurance before he could even recover from those injuries.
Gabriel Shin had his pay and benefits taken away, not the guy who attacked him.
He was clearly the victim here. Oh my gosh.
If you look at the situation objectively, there's no way that he should still be working. If he were a police officer, I don't think he'd still be working and drawing his salary. And I don't understand why that's happening, but that is happening.
Oh, you do understand why it's happening. You just said it. And you said it in the context of a federal civil rights lawsuit, civil suit that he has filed against the San Francisco Fire Department. There's a racial pecking order.
Whatever happened to Stop Asian Hate?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I'm thinking.
Well, that stopped. The Stop Asian Hate campaign stopped as soon as in New York City it was mostly black individuals attacking Asian people. And so that, again, there's a racial pecking order.
When COVID went away.
I mean,
this is clearly racially motivated, the decisions that were made.
somebody at some point has to be
Common sense?
the adult here and say, yes, there were racial pecking orders in the past in America, and they were wrong. There were racial pecking orders in Chicago under Irish Democrats, and they were wrong. There were racial, and those racial pecking orders were at City Hall, were in the police and fire departments, and they were wrong. And the racial pecking order now is just as wrong, and we're going to prospectively end the racial pecking order. I'd like that to be somebody to have the courage to say that in some metropolitan area in America. And I think if somebody does, we're not quite there yet, but I think we're getting closer. I think if somebody does, that may be the area that has the surprise electoral outcome that I've been talking about for the last several weeks as these cities continue to disintegrate, and particularly with the added exogenous shock of migrants and the resource and the fight over resources between indigenous populations and illegal immigrants. I think that's in the opportunity there. That's the path out of this morass. But I don't know if, certainly there's no obvious identitarian leftist, I repeat myself, that's going to say that in America's big cities. But maybe somebody comes from the outside. You know, there's more of this happening in corporate America. So it's becoming, I guess, more acceptable to do things like Alexander Wang, who founded Scale AI in 2016, announced DEI meet MEI. Wang over at, hey Wang, Scale AI rolling out the MEI to replace DEI, merit, excellence, and intelligence. Scale is a meritocracy, and we must always remain one. Hiring on merit will be a permanent policy at Scale. Merit, excellence, and intelligence as the mantra in corporate America, at City Hall, in fire departments. It's not going to be easy to pull up DEI, ESG, these identitarian political regimes, spoil systems by race. It's not going to be easy to pull them up root and branch, but it can be done. I think people are looking for something different, don't you? Getting sick of this?
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line.
Getting a little sick of this?
Yeah. It's getting old.
I think people are getting there. I think people see events, they see stories like this about this Gabriel Shin guy, and are like, okay, we've, completely gone mad. And what Jillian Michaels said, the fitness guru, upon leaving California, explained to Sage Steele, because, I'm gay. I've got a black kid. I'm half
Jewish.
I'm
my dad's Arab.
Yeah, right. Jewish. I've got this great victimology score. So maybe when I'm saying I'm leaving because I can't stand California, maybe it's because you have gone fracking mad. Maybe it's not me. Now, of course, with Jillian Michaels of the world, there's only so far you can take her. There's only so much benefit there because she starts from all the wrong premises. So all she wants to do is slow our gate down the road to serfdom. And that's not going to be enough, but it's a start. Slowing down the pace is a start. You can have allies of convenience in that process, like Jillian Michaels. But I think stories like this firefighter in San Francisco, this U-turn sign in L.A.,
Oh my God.
I think they're starting to grate a little bit, and I think this is why you see more people willing to step out and say we're ending DEI. I'm announcing an MEI hiring policy. I'm not flying flags. I'm sort of culturally duty bound to fly. I don't feel so duty bound anymore. Maybe. The U-turn sign?
Yeah, I think we need to tell people about the U-turn sign.
The U-turn sign in L.A. turned out to have vestiges in homophobia.
Right, meaning that if there is in the 70s, I guess, if there was a U-turn sign, that means that there was a gay bar nearby or gay people lived in the neighborhood?
No. This is a specific U-turn sign in a specific neighborhood in L.A. that was by a specific gay bar in L.A., and don't let me explain it to you. Let's go to
the drag queens over
local neighborhood councilman.
This is great.
This is the name he goes by. Maybe a girl. Like Harry S. Truman. Maybe a girl.
LA City Council members Hugo Soto Martinez and Nithya Raman were on hand today to help remove the signs. They say the no cruising and no U-turn signs were put up in the 1990s to prevent people in the gay community from meeting up with other gay people.
I was also surprised that these U-turn signs were still up. And at first, they seem a little, okay, it's just a no U-turn sign. But when you learn the history of it and you realize that these were used to profile gay people, it's so important that we have these removed.
The LA City Council members say the signs were put up after the gay community began to grow and because there was a gay bar in that area.
I can make a U-turn now.
I can't make a U-turn no U-turn, so you have to go around. I mean, if I really want to go to a gay bar, I can go up the block, make a left, and then make a right and come back.
Exactly.
Okay, but I mean that sort of stuff. I mean, is I think what Jillian Michaels is saying, where it's just really a bit much, isn't it? Plus, I have to be lectured to by some dude who goes by maybe a girl. Dave in Ravenswood.
Yeah, it seems bizarre to me that with all this DEI stuff, like it's the people who posture that they're anti-racist and ultimately the race is someone's defining characteristic. It seems kind of an oxymoron, and I wonder how we make it common knowledge that dynamic. Maybe it is already common knowledge, and it's just shoved in our face all the time in a different manner, but.
The people who you're talking about, so the people who are always railing against othering, and the remedy is othering, right?
Right, exactly. Basically saying we're being inclusive by adding in more non-whites, with the assumption then that because someone's race is such that means we're being more inclusive. Like why is it someone's religion their defining characteristic? That seems to make more sense around their values,
Well, right. Thanks for the call, Dave. But you can't pass judgment on anybody's conduct.
I mean,
only their non-behavior, not their actual behavior. Isn't that interesting?
An active attack on their life choices, a you'd sign. Somebody texted in, Dan and Amy, can straight people demand all stop signs are offensive and be removed? I mean, they were offended by a sign?
Well, it also, too, it's like, they probably felt it was a metaphor. Like, for people who make a U-turn in their lives.
Yeah.
So, think about if Meredith Baxter Birney was driving past that sign.
Okay.
And when, someone who woke up when she was in her 50s and decided, hey, you know what, I'm a lesbian. Okay. That she made a U-turn in her life. And now you're saying no U-turns? That could be judging.
Oh.
Could have a street sign that's judging her.
Right.
Caitlyn Jenner.
Yeah. She made a big U-turn.
He. Driving past that sign. And he said, "What you're saying that, right? I mean, we have to be sensitive to the criminally insane."
It's like a hot, steaming cup of information to start your day. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Frank Vance, co-owner of Egan Vance Insurance Agency on Chicago's Northwest Side and a customer of Signature Bank. In my line of work, we pride ourselves on being there for our clients when they need it the most, and we recognize when someone does the same for us. As Egan Vance was expanding, we wanted to buy a much sought-after building in the neighborhood. We couldn't waste any time. I called Signature Bank, and that was all it took. I didn't have to talk to multiple people in siloed departments with multiple forms to fill out. One call did it all. As the one who was always looking out for my clients, it was a great change to know that my bank, Signature Bank, was looking out for me.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender. Quickly, let's take Bob and Racine. You're on Chicago's Morning Answer, Bob.
Good morning.
Yeah.
The U-turn is just so you don't get rear-ended.
Hi-oh! I see what you did there. Choosing where to send your kids to school is one of the most important decisions you make as parents. Even as the school year has come to an end, you might be thinking about where to send your kids to school in the fall. You need to know that private school might be an option for you and your family, like it is for Stacey Davis Gates. Thanks to our friends at Half Price Schools at halfpriceschools.com, you'll find many different private schools from around Chicagoland offering a full year of tuition for half of the normal price. And you can take advantage of this great opportunity. It's simple. Find a private school near you, purchase the tuition voucher, and prepare to send your child off to school this fall. HalfPriceSchools.com has schools across Chicagoland, including Christian Liberty Academy in Arlington Heights, Ravenswood Christian in Chicago, St. Peter Lutheran in Schaumburg, St. Andrew's Lutheran in Park Ridge, and many more. So don't delay. Next school year will be here before you know it. Visit HalfPriceSchools.com today. Don't wait. Visit HalfPriceSchools.com today. That's HalfPriceSchools.com.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
I work for the New York City Fire Department. I've been using Balance of Nature for 8 years, I believe. It's been phenomenal. And I just got retired after 33 years. I work long hours, a lot of overtime. I teach at the Fire Academy. I run with the mornings. I work out all the time. And your product has been so successful for me in my regiment. I have nothing but high praise for you guys.
Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer. And for a limited time, get 35% off your first order, plus $10 off any additional sets. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Hi, I'm Ron Kraszewski, Chairman and CEO of Stifel. Financial advisors, let's face it, if you're not growing your practice, you're losing market share. Stifel is a growing, entrepreneurial, advisor-centric firm built for successful advisors like you. There's a reason why 148 financial advisors joined Stifel last year. Come join us and find out why Stifel is the firm where success meets success. Visit www.choosestifel.com.
Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
AM 560, The Answer.
Right. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
At 7:07, our friend Stephen Bucci from the Heritage Foundation for our weekly conversation on geopolitics. Starting with the pronouncement that emanated from the Turning Point Action event in Detroit over the weekend. Not a single additional red cent for Ukraine if Trump gets in. We'll start there at 7:07.
Hot and humid today, a high near 97 degrees at 7 a.m. WIND Chicago.
Israel's war cabinet is no more. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has disbanded the panel days after a key member resigned. It was set up after the October Hamas terror attack that triggered the war in Gaza.
The centrist former general turned politician Benny Gantz resigned over the lack of a plan for Gaza's future. Since then, some of Netanyahu's far-right coalition colleagues had been trying to join in Gantz's place. That could have caused friction with the U.S., and the Prime Minister has decided to drop the committee completely.
As Fox's Jonathan Savage, Israel is pausing the fighting in Rafah during the day to allow more humanitarian aid into Gaza for Palestinian civilians. A vigil in Rochester Hills, Michigan, the night after the water park shooting that left 9 people injured.
I know our community will not be defined by this. I think it will be defined by our response to this.
Part of that is you being here.
Mayor Brian Barnett, an 8-year-old boy, and his mother were left in critical condition. The gunman later shot himself, found dead in his home. Evan Gershkovich has a trial date in Russia where he's been jailed for more than a year on espionage charges. June 26th. The American journalist denies he's a spy. The U.S. calls him wrongfully detained. Russia's leaders getting ready to go to North Korea. Media there reports Vladimir Putin will visit the country tomorrow and Wednesday. North Korea, which continually violates UN sanctions with a nuclear weapons program and missile tests, has been supplying Russia with military aid in the war in Ukraine. President Biden's campaign is spending some of the big bucks he just raked in.
The Biden campaign is seizing on former President Trump's recent conviction, releasing a new ad blasting the former president's legal challenges. The $50 million ad blitz comes just days after President Biden held another star-studded Los Angeles fundraiser, this time raking in a record-breaking $30 million.
Fox's Brooke Sigmund. Former President Trump claims all his legal issues are just political shams trying to undermine his campaign. America's listening to Fox News.
Good morning. It's 80 degrees in Chicago on AM 560 The Answer. I'm Crystal Blue in the AM 560 newsroom. Partly cloudy today with a slight chance for thunderstorms and a high near 94. An elderly man is dead after being hit by a vehicle in suburban Niles. Police say the victim was walking across Milwaukee Avenue yesterday morning when a vehicle hit him near the Golf Mill Shopping Center. The victim was pronounced dead at the hospital. An investigation is underway. There's no word of any citations. A Rockford gas station is severely damaged after a storm hit the area. The storm swept through northern Illinois yesterday. Strong winds knocked down a canopy at a mobile gas station on Meridian Road by the US 20 exit. So far, there's no word of any injuries. A man is hospitalized in good condition after he was shot following an argument outside a Whole Foods store in Chicago's Streeterville neighborhood. The incident happened Friday morning near Grand and Fairbanks and attracted a heavy police presence and SWAT unit. The victim suffered a gunshot wound to the shoulder before he was taken to a local hospital. The gun was recovered at the scene, but no one is in custody. A pair of young teens is accused of staging a carjacking on Chicago's west and south sides. Both crimes happened Thursday. The 17-year-old boys were charged with vehicular hijacking and aggravated discharge of a firearm. One of the suspects was also charged with unlawful use of a weapon and possession of a firearm with a defaced serial number. A West suburban Naperville woman is accused of using her 2 young children to steal from the JCPenney department store at Yorktown Mall in Lombard. Ritka Jane has been charged with 2 counts of contributing to the delinquency of a minor, burglary, and retail theft. Police say the woman urged her 2 daughters, ages 9 and 5, to help her hide merchandise in a piece of luggage and inside a stroller. Jane had just over 200 items in her possession, including clothing and toys worth more than $4,000. News is a service of Windy City Safes. What are you doing to keep your most prized possessions safe? Windy City Safes is Chicagoland's only Liberty Safe dealer. With Liberty Safes, you're not just getting a safe, you're getting peace of mind. Visit the Niles showroom, call 224-LOCKBOX, or online at WindyCitySafes.com. That's WindyCitySafes.com. A check of the roads coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
Windy City Safes in Niles wants to help you celebrate America this summer by giving away a Liberty personal home safe. Enter to win from now until the 4th of July at 560theanswer.com/safe. That's 560theanswer.com/safe. And make sure to stop by Windy City Safe's showroom at 7310 North Milwaukee Avenue in Niles and receive a free American flag to display in your home or business while supplies last.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency on earth, and if you owe back taxes, the news isn't good. The IRS is raising the interest rate it charges on unpaid taxes, and further rate hikes are expected. Most people don't know it, but the IRS adds interest charges to your tax debts daily. So if you owe the IRS today, you'll owe even more tomorrow. And it doesn't stop until you get right with the IRS. The good news is getting right can start with one phone call to Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax relief firm. Optima's tax professionals specialize in the Fresh Start Initiative, a powerful IRS program that can save you thousands if you qualify. In fact, the experts at Optima have resolved over $1 billion in tax debt for their clients. Call now for a free consultation.
Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Hey guys, Donald Trump Jr. here. Let me ask you this. Does inflation feel worse than what we're being told in the news? That's because the official inflation rate doesn't tell the whole story. Since January 2021, the cost of living has increased by 17.9%. You can't get that money back, but what you can do is stop your losses today. How? By diversifying your savings into a gold IRA from my friends at Birch Gold Group. When you're done, your money will be parked in a tangible asset with a proven history. To see how it works, get your free info kit on gold IRAs by texting the word PROTECT to 989898. I trust Birch Gold. They provide an easy process to roll over your 401k or IRA into gold without losing your tax advantaged status. So text PROTECT to 989898. That's PROTECT to the number 989898 to get your free info kit on gold IRAs from Birch Gold.
Message and data rates may apply.
Smoke fumes and dust are a nuisance your business can do without, causing health hazards for employees and possible EPA problems for your company. If you need help cleaning up these problems, call a company that has the expertise and capability to help.
Hi, I'm Dave Van Camp, president of Vans Industrial. I've got over 40 years of personal experience in dealing with smoke fumes and dust emissions, and I can help you eliminate these problems from your plant. Contact Vans for a no-cost evaluation of your system, and we will size equipment, design hoods and ductwork for a complete turnkey solution.
Vans uses only the best and safest union-trained mechanics, insured at the highest levels to perform the job right. Call 833-VANS-IND to schedule your ventilation inspection today. That's 833-VANSIND. You can also visit them online at vansindustrial.com. That's VANSindustrial.com. Vans Industrial, working safe since 1964.
Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer. From the AM 560 Traffic Center.
It is solid on the Kennedy outbound. It's due to a tractor trailer that struck the Lake Street overpass. 2 right lanes blocked. 55 minutes from downtown out to O'Hare. The inbound set of the Kennedy at 48 minutes. Now that accident on the Kennedy is spilling onto the Dan Ryan inbound. It is a whopping hour and 20 minutes on the Dan Ryan inbound from 95th into downtown. Traffic is brought to you by Turnkey.pro. Turnkey's real-time threat hunting defends you, your employees, and your customers from vulnerable cyber attacks. Shield your complete infrastructure from malware and phishing scams and other threats. Turnkey has solutions to protect your business. Visit Turnkey.pro. Reporting today from the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, I'm Joanne Jeanette.
Now, your official weather forecast.
Partly sunny, breezy, and hot. The high today at 95. Partly cloudy, breezy evening. Look for a low of 77. Partly sunny, windy, a hot one tomorrow. Thunderstorm in spots for the afternoon. The high tomorrow, 95. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So on Friday, the House passed the National Defense Authorization Act, which greenlighted about $900 billion in military spending for the coming fiscal year. On the Senate side, they popped on another $25 billion to that. So we'll get the particulars on what all that spend means. But one thing that's interesting about what's happening and what's been reported, you have Christy Houlihan in the House. She's a Democrat socialist from Pennsylvania and Air Force veteran. She wants women to be auto-enrolled in the selective service same way that men 18 to 26 would be under the National Defense Authorization Act, the version passed in the House.
Yeah, feminists have been begging for this for years.
And there's also a report that the U.S. Senate Armed Services Committee intends to require women to register for the selective service as part of their version of said defense spending legislation. In the name of equity, I know that's something that General Lloyd Austin and the senior leadership of the armed services these days likes to throw around that word. They like to throw around like everybody else on their side of the philosophical divide. Yeah, how about putting women on the front lines? Yeah, let me know how it goes, ladies. Right?
Oh, it's funny because we were with my niece yesterday, and she's 24, and we're like, "Oh, did you hear that you're gonna have to sign up for selective service?" She's like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "It's a possibility. You're in that age group."
Sex in the City on the front lines.
Hey.
Let's heads up, China, Russia. We got a whole new armed services coming at you. And I wouldn't underestimate them. You know, that segment that constitutes the audience of The View, it can be,
pretty nasty.
quite aggressive.
Yeah.
The order will be don't see until you see the pink of their pea hats.
Right. A nice stiletto in the eye, huh? Didn't see that one coming, did you?
Stephen Bucci served America for 3 decades as Army Special Forces officer and top Pentagon official, visiting fellow at the Heritage Foundation's Allison Center for Foreign Policy Studies. Now, Stephen, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
It's always my pleasure to be on the show. Thank you for having me.
Requiring women to register for a selective service, register for the draft as part of the National Defense Authorization Act. Good idea?
Registering for the draft, given that all the branches of the military are now open to women, I guess it kind of makes some sort of sense, but it seems like an awful lot of virtue signaling going on, because I remember when we started including women more broadly in the military back when we got ready to deploy for the first Gulf War. And there was a famous picture, I don't know if you guys remember it, of this little tiny petite gal, wire rim glasses, her helmet on her head, her K-pop, the helmets we wear now, look like a big turtle on top of her because it was probably not the right size because they weren't making those sizes yet. And she was saying goodbye to her 7-week-old child because you only get 6 weeks of maternity leave in the military, and it was after the 6 weeks by a week, and she was deploying with her unit, leaving that 7-week-old child with her husband. And boy, there was a furor. People got upset. How could we do this? This is terrible. Well, it's because your legislators passed a law that said women are equal in the military and they can do all this stuff. So you can't have 2 sets of rules. Okay, there's consequences when you have that much equity, folks. So moms, dads, to be honest with you, if they cause them all to register, you will see a connected drop in female enlistments in the military, because parents will go, whoa, wait a minute, we don't want our daughters doing this. And I think it's going to cause more problems than it'll solve. And it's interesting, people who like these ideas are people who are never going to come in the military themselves.
Do you think there's a possibility, and I tweeted this out, but I am crazy, I'm going to admit it. I think they're doing this in case a man starts to identify as a woman to avoid selective service registration.
No, I think it's more tied to the feminism aspect of it. That legislator you referred to, she is a radical, left-leaning Democrat. She thinks, everybody's the same. It doesn't matter. You could switch gears and join whatever team you want. We don't necessarily agree with that, do we? So, this idea that there might actually be differences between men and women.
No.
With regard, that's...
No.
Yes, there are severe differences between men and women.
No differences. No.
You want to put the best out there, and sometimes the best out there are men. Not sometimes.
No.
It is.
No.
It is.
No.
I'm glad to see you've finally gotten woke, Dan.
No, exactly. No, look, I mean, yeah. It's the old be careful what you wish for. You may get it. So, I mean, The problem, of course, is, I mean, I'd be interested in your perspective on this. This is not a new topic, but I guess we have to revisit it. What you think having a more equally distributed armed services across the gender, of course, sexual divisions, what that would mean for sort of unit cohesion and efficacy, if say the front lines, rather than being 100% men, were 50-50 men and women. How you think that would go?
Well, as far as unit cohesion, I guess it kind of depends on how you define that. They might be very cohesive, which wouldn't necessarily help your readiness.
Well, yeah.
But that would be a problem. I'm sorry, but there are females, and I have worked with them. I have respect for them that could do anything I could do. They are not the majority. And in the same way, if a guy can't meet the standards in that particular military occupational specialty, the way we divide up the military of who does what, they get transferred to another MOS.
Yeah.
They don't stay there. If you can't do the infantry stuff, you can't stay in the infantry. You go somewhere else because you put everybody else at risk if you can't do your job. I'm concerned that as we continue to bring, to try and get this mythical goal which is just what you described, the military should reflect the exact composition of our society. I'm sorry, that would not make us a more ready and prepared military. It wouldn't. No offense, but 50% of the women out there are not capable of doing all of the tasks in those MOSs. If a woman can do it, put her in there.
Well,
and then it becomes a command responsibility, to maintain the discipline. It's harder, don't get me wrong, but, it's hard to argue that if a woman can do all of the physical things that I can do, why can't she be in there? But the problem is that's not the case. They change the standards, and that is going to lower our readiness, and that's dangerous for the safety of the United States of America.
I'm opposed to the draft sort of categorically. I'm in the Milton Friedman camp and the famous exchange he had with General Westmoreland, you'll recall. But I almost want to see the draft reinstituted just to see what sort of desertion rates we'd see between the two sexes. I think that would be interesting.
Go to jail for 10 years if you get caught.
It'd be very interesting. But I digress. I'm an anachronism, I know. The issue of Ukraine, I don't know if you saw over the weekend, but Trump was in Detroit at a rally essentially, and Steve Bannon was there, and Steve Bannon, to the young throngs of Trump supporters that were there, said in no uncertain terms, Trump gets back in the White House and there won't be one more red cent sent to Ukraine. How do you react to that?
Well, I don't have any problem with that if then President Trump can come up with a way to get Vladimir Putin out of Ukraine, which I think he might have a better chance of doing that than Joe Biden, who right now I don't think there is any chance of Biden doing what might need to be done to keep Vladimir Putin's appetite, from growing and looking elsewhere. But, again, fine. I got to see what President Trump's plan is to solve the problem, because right now Russia being in Ukraine, in my mind, is a national security problem. So we have to wait and see what he's going to come up with.
What about, speaking of Russia, what about Russia's latest incursions into the Western Hemisphere, that sub off the coast of Cuba? Do we, whatever Russia and China may be doing in concert with one another to support similarly disposed communist dictators in places like Venezuela? Are we, paying attention to what's happening in our backyard?
I believe we are paying attention. I know the military and intel communities are clearly paying attention to it. But right now, we're not going to put a blockade on Cuba like Kennedy did during the Cuban Missile Crisis, and we're not. So Cuba is an ally of Russia. They're friends. It's legal for them to do visits. The Monroe Doctrine no longer applies the way it did back during the days when we had sails on our ships. So we're not going to shoot at somebody who comes into the Western Hemisphere. So Russia does stuff like this pretty regularly, frankly. But we watch them, we shadow them, we're probably gathering intel from them. I'm not saying it's not significant. It is. We don't like them to be so bold and open about it. But there's not one heck of a lot we can do about it short of shooting at them. And I don't think we want to do that. And I don't think Joe Biden has the intestinal fortitude to do it. And I'm not sure it's the right thing to do. So we got to keep watching them, stay vigilant, and make sure that they don't get to doing anything that's more dangerous than just their presence.
Speaking of the much vaunted intel community, that Hunter Biden conviction last week doesn't reflect terribly well on those 51 who signed all the earmarks of a Russian information campaign. That's not an authentic Hunter Biden laptop deal. A few years back, just in advance of the 2020 election. And, there's a lot of talk coming from Trump and his surrogates that heads will roll in the administrative state and the deep state. That means some of their heads, and to the extent they're not there anymore, their access to, which is important to some of the jobs they have subsequent, like General Hayden over at NewsGuard doing censorship work for the state. So I wonder what you hear from inside those hallowed halls about how much panic there is among the sort of permanent administrative intel community types about their positions, their access, or both.
Well, I think if you talk to them publicly, they would probably say, "Oh, there's not going to be any problems. We didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah, of course.
There's nothing they could really do to us." I think, look, I was part of the intel community. Some of the people that signed that list, a lot of them I had absolutely no respect for, like Mr. Brennan, before they did that. Some of them I had worked with, I did have some respect for, but when they signed that, it was so blatantly untrue and so blatantly politically motivated to support Biden versus Trump that I was appalled. And at this point, I think now that we have the evidence in court, in Congress, that what was purported to be the truth, validated by the so-called experts, turned out to be a complete fabrication, a politically motivated lie. Mike Morrell has admitted he was one of the people who came up with the idea. Somebody should pay a price for that. The American people were hoodwinked. Mm-hmm. There was collusion between these people, both in Intel and recently out of Intel, with the mainstream press to perpetrate this lie on the American people at a critical time in the election. And I think someone, preferably a whole bunch of people, maybe like 50 or 60 of them, ought to pay a price for that. If they're still in government, they should lose those government jobs. If they're out of government, their clearances should be revoked because they no longer show the trust that those clearances are supposed to attest to.
Yeah, but do you think they'll do it again, though? Another issue comes up?
I'm sure they will try. I have no doubt, particularly as the Dems get more and more desperate about this. That's very likely to happen. That's why I think that should be a point that is hammered by the Trump camp over and over again. That there's good evidence, polling evidence, that a lot of people towards the center would have changed their vote if that story had been shown to be accurate as we now know it was when it first came out. They were persuaded not to switch their votes because of the lie of that letter labeling it clearly Russian disinformation, or as was put out. Well, we didn't say it wasn't Russian information. We just said it had all
the earmarks.
of
Yeah,
Russian
right. Yeah, right.
And I'm sorry, that's a difference or without a distinction.
Right. No, but
they lied.
You're right, and they're in for a penny, they're in for a pound now, and they know it. So, yeah, look for another October surprise of some sort from that quarter. Stephen Bucci served America for 3 decades as Army Special Forces officer and top Pentagon official, now a visiting fellow in the Heritage Foundation's Allison Center for Foreign Policy Studies. Stephen Bucci, thank you as always.
It's my pleasure, and we look forward to talking.
Okay, thank you so much. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Listen to podcasts of Dan and Amy from the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Our communities deserve to have their tax dollars spent efficiently. All over Chicagoland, there is an increased need for vital projects like wetland improvements, enhancing water quality, or stormwater mitigation to protect homes against devastating floods. Too often, public officials find themselves at the mercy of outside advisors when planning, budgeting, and building these projects. And let's face it, they rarely meet deadlines or budgets, leaving our communities vulnerable. There's a better way forward. Control Point Engineering. At Control Point Engineering, we're more than just civil engineers. We're champions of quality and efficiency with over 40 years of hands-on experience. Teaming up with Earthworks Land Development, we're breaking down barriers and streamlining processes. Say goodbye to disjointed partnerships and hello to seamless collaboration. From conceptualization to construction, Control Point Engineering delivers everything you need in one unified package, saving you time and money. Visit ControlPointLLC.com today to learn about our successful projects all across Chicagoland. Again, that's ControlPointLLC.com.
All right. Don't forget that when you have those backyard barbecues, those burgers, brats, beer, no fruits and veggies in that. And that's where Balance of Nature comes in. Are you getting enough fruits and vegetables in your diet? Probably not. And if not, then try Balance of Nature. 6 capsules. You're getting 10 servings of 31 different fruits and veggies. You will love it. Your body, your mind, and your heart will thank you for it. So order your fruits and veggie supplements today by calling 800-246-8751 and use coupon code Chicago to save 35% off your first order and free shipping as a preferred customer. 800-246-8751. Call now or order online at balanceofnature.com. Use coupon code Chicago. Balance of Nature, fruits and vegetable supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
Hi, I'm Henry Winkler. My eyes are very important to me. My eyes connect me with everything I love. I loved my late father-in-law dearly. He always lit up a room, but his vision dimmed with age. He had age-related macular degeneration, or AMD. And since partnering with Apellis, I've learned there's an advanced form of dry AMD called geographic atrophy, or GA. His struggle with vision loss made me want to help others know about GA's warning signs. For some, colors appear dull or washed out. For others, hazy or blurred vision make it hard to see details, like fine print on price tags. Many have trouble seeing in the dark, making driving at night difficult. GA gets worse over time and cannot be reversed. If you think you have GA, don't wait. Treatments are available. Ask a retina specialist about FDA-approved treatments for GA and go to GAWon'tWait.com.
Let me ask you this. Are you not able to enjoy this summer as much as you want because of joint pain? Well, this is the best time for being outdoors, but not if your knees, shoulders, back, or hips are hurting. Hey, it's Amy Jacobson, and don't suffer any longer. Non-surgical joint pain relief is here from our good friends at QC Kinetics. Call them today. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. I'm talking lasting joint pain relief with no surgery, no drugs, no downtime. QC Kinetics advanced treatments harness your own body's ability to restore and repair damaged joint tissue. Walk, run, hike, play golf, move again pain-free. So stop putting it off. Take action now and live your best life again. Call QC Kinetics for a free consultation. They're open on Saturdays, now with new locations in Crystal Lake and Gurnee. 312-809-5955. 312-809-5955. That's 312-809-5955.
Hey, it's Mike Rowe with a new film in theaters starting June 27th. The film is called Something to Stand For, and it's a great way to celebrate the extraordinary Americans who made our nation the land of the free and the home of the brave. From our founding fathers to the soldiers and Marines who made their ideas a reality, these are the stories you didn't know about the Americans who risked everything on our behalf. It's only in theaters for a limited time, so visit somethingtostandfor.movie to get your tickets now.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
At 7:37, we'll talk to Megan Brock from the Daily Caller about the WPATH tapes. World Professional Association for Transgender Health, the WPATH. This is an organization you need to know because you need to know what to watch out for. Megan Brock on the WPATH at 7:37.
Look forward to that. But now we head into the newsroom. Crystal Blue in for Mike Scott.
Good morning. It's 80 degrees in Chicago on AM 560 The Answer. I'm Crystal Blue in the AM 560 newsroom. An air quality alert is in effect today in the Chicago area. The National Weather Service says an air pollution action day has been declared for Cook, McHenry, Lake, Kane, DuPage, Kendall, and Will counties. Active children and adults, especially people with pulmonary or respiratory diseases, should limit prolonged outdoor activity. A search is underway to find a boater who fell into Lake Michigan. The Chicago Fire Department says they were called out Saturday to the area known as the Playpen in Lake Michigan off Oak Street Beach. Crews didn't locate the man after searching the past 2 days. The missing boater has not yet been identified. The National Weather Service is confirming that several tornadoes hit central Illinois last week. The survey team was able to find damage that showed a tornado hit 3 different locations Thursday evening. One tornado touched down just northeast of Lexington in McLean County. The other 2 tornadoes touched down in the Anchor to Gibson City region. The Bean is expected to be reopened to the public soon after undergoing renovation. It was cordoned off last August so crews could rebuild the surrounding plaza podium, replace pavers, and make accessibility upgrades. A city spokesperson says the plaza is expected to reopen to the public before the end of the month. News is a service of Dan and Amy 24/7. You can now enjoy uninterrupted programming from Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson around the clock all day, every day, including daily replays of Chicago's Morning Answer. Listen now at danandamy247.com. A check of the roads is coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
What he's seeing from Trump.
Donald Trump is up in every major poll. Donald Trump is, quote, the favorite. Yet Donald Trump is not running this campaign in 2024. He's not playing it safe. And I love that about his attitude right now. I believe he is being rewarded in the polls because he's willing to go to bodegas, go into the Bronx, and go into the Libertarian Convention.
The Charlie Kirk Show. Afternoons at 1, right before Sebastian Gorka at 3 on AM 560. The Answer.
If credit card debt is stressing you out and keeping you up at night, you need to call Team Hochberg about a fresh start debt consolidation loan. Meet Mitch, 43, IT manager, score 653, making $74,000 a year living in a $300,000 home in Geneva. Mitch accumulated $45,000 of credit card debt when he lost his job, so he contacted Team Hochberg about a fresh start debt consolidation mortgage after securing a new job. Team Hochberg loan officer Johnny Hendrickson helped Mitch eliminate the credit card debt he accumulated while being unemployed and saved him over $1,200 a month. Let's review. Johnny helped Mitch pay off credit card debt totaling $45,000 and saved him over $14,000 a year. What are you waiting for? Team Hochberg helped Mitch and thousands of radio listeners, but we can't help if you don't call 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com. That's 855-563-2843 or 56david.com. Lower.com, equal housing lender, NMLS 1124061.
Hi, I'm Henry Winkler. My eyes are very important to me. My eyes connect me with everything I love. I loved my late father-in-law dearly. He always lit up a room, but his vision dimmed with age. He had age-related macular degeneration, or AMD. And since partnering with Apellis, I've learned there's an advanced form of dry AMD called geographic atrophy, or GA. His struggle with vision loss made me want to help others know about GA's warning signs. For some, colors appear dull or washed out. For others, hazy or blurred vision make it hard to see details, like fine print on price tags. Many have trouble seeing in the dark, making driving at night difficult. GA gets worse over time and cannot be reversed. If you think you have GA, don't wait. Treatments are available. Ask a retina specialist about FDA-approved treatments for GA and go to GAWon'tWait.com.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
I work for the New York City Fire Department. I've been using Balance of Nature for 8 years, I believe. It's been phenomenal. And I just got retired after 33 years. I work long hours, a lot of overtime. I teach at the Fire Academy. I run with the mornings. I work out all the time. And your product has been so successful for me in my regiment. I have nothing but high praise for you guys.
Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer. And for a limited time, get 35% off your first order, plus $10 off any additional sets. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Download the free Upside app to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code EARN for an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first fill-up. That's promo code EARN.
Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer. From the AM 560 Traffic Center.
In Oak Park, Austin area, Roosevelt Road is blocked between Cicero Avenue and Kilbourne. This is due to an earlier accident. They're cleaning up there. Earlier crash on the Kennedy. It was making a huge mess all over the place. Inbound Kennedy is better now. It's 55 minutes from O'Hare into downtown. Outbound side of the Kennedy is 50 from downtown out to the airport. That accident was making hefty delays on the Dan Ryan inbound, but that's moving again from 95th into downtown. It is 42 minutes. Traffic is a service of Fox Valley Coins. Bring your gold or silver in store today. Each item is priced right in front of you. The coins never leave your sight. Receive cash or a check right on the spot. FoxValleyCoins.com. Reporting today from the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, I'm Joanne Jeanette.
Now, your official weather forecast.
Partly sunny, breezy, hot day today. The high at 95. It'll be partly cloudy, breezy, and warm tonight, low 77. A windy, hot day tomorrow. Partly sunny. Could run into a thunderstorm for the afternoon. The high at 95. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560. The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So last week we had Dr. Jill Simons, the executive director of the American College of Pediatricians, on to discuss the Great Barrington Declaration version for trans ideology that they have launched. They had a press conference of it as well, calling on professional medical associations to stop promoting ascientific remedies to gender dysphoria that harm young people in particular. So the puberty blockers, the transition surgeries. And in part, this is a response to the zeitgeist behind the World Professional Association of Transgender Health, WPATH. This is one of the leading promoters of this ghoulish business. And you see their influence, and it goes in both directions, at places like Lurie Children's Hospital in Chicago. The funding from the Pritzker family also helps. So two reporters for the Daily Caller obtained footage and a number of documents from WPATH's September 2022 Global Education Institute conference, which included some members of the group questioning the organization's standards of care, and some uncomfortable admissions, as well as some of the ghoulish statements you've heard from these pro-trans medical professionals at particular hospitals or academic institutions that have been exposed by the likes of Matt Walsh and Chris Rufo over the last several years. And then sort of they take the videos down and they announce they're not doing it anymore, and sometimes they're still doing it. So this is a real political movement, masquerading as as providers of medical services and nothing more. But there is something more. Particularly, there's something more when you're having to tackle topics like, can psychosis stop you from giving informed consent?
Is there more specific ideas about what sorts of psychiatric indications might be a contraindication when a lot of the literature shows that depression, anxiety, suicidal ideation improve with hormone therapy? What might be a contraindication? I hear a lot about psychosis and estrogen, so if you can specifically speak to that and to anything else that might be more than just this person's really unstable, is it a good or bad idea to start, or more data or resources where I could go?
I don't think, so my personal opinion is that this is not a thing for either hormone. I think I would probably frame it, are they mentally stable to go for wisdom tooth extraction right now? Like
no, that's very helpful. The idea of
an elective surgery thing, or something where they can both give consent, could cope with an unexpected event that took place on it, responsible enough to do with it.
It's about capacity and self-management.
Yeah,
I can assess for that.
Yeah, I think that's where I'd frame that. I don't think it's a hormone thing. Again, most people get happier, which is why we're doing that, which tends to be helpful for mental health.
That is extremely helpful. I will be quoting you.
Good. Got it.
I have had a few.
That's a nice end run around the issue of consent for somebody who has a diagnosed mental health condition.
Why are they laughing?
Megan Brock is an investigative researcher for the Daily Caller. She's one of the two journalists on this case. Megan, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
So, I mean, there's a lot here, and there's a lot of videos that Daily Caller has posted, video snippets along the lines of the one that we just played that speak to sort of the philosophy or ideology behind the WPATH leadership. But why don't you characterize it for us from what you've obtained and poured through?
Yeah, I mean, I think the comment about why are they laughing, I think there were a lot of laughs throughout these videos. I mean, what I heard through this is almost 30 hours of footage from WPATH, the World Professional Association of Transgender Health, which, if your listeners don't know, is an extremely influential organization, particularly for insurance coverage, for institutions. A lot of even governments rely on WPATH clinical recommendations to determine who is going to get these transgender medical interventions and how they're going to be given. So what I heard throughout these tapes is that there's a lot of unknowns, and we heard doctors over and over again talking about unknowns. And then the part about consent that you just played, I mean, the idea that even people with a mental condition like schizophrenia, the belief that they can still consent to these irreversible treatments, when I think previously people understood, somebody who's not in their right mind really can't consent to something that might, for example, totally transform their body.
Yeah, I mean, and also too the consent issues surrounding minors, of course, is a main focus. And you say, well, you've got parental consent or the consent of a guardian, an adult, and yet we've heard cases where parents have a lot of regret after the fact because it wasn't really informed consent that the medical professional or the institution got, because they provided a very stilted view of what was happening to their child, essentially taking the position, as these ideologues take, that we're going to go in whichever direction the minor child wants us to go.
Right. I mean, it's kind of this path of affirm or else. I mean, there's even throughout the country, we're seeing parents having their children taken away from them because they won't affirm this delusion, this magical thinking that you can change your sex. So I think that for parents, there's absolutely a lot of coercion when they're making these decisions. One of the things that they're told is, do you want a dead daughter or an alive son? And that's obviously not even factual. I mean, there was a study that came out, I think, in Germany last week, suggesting that I think it was 72% of kids would kind of come out of their distress by the time they go through puberty. And that's something that's been known for a long time, that these kids will go through puberty, and the vast majority of them are going to come out and will have alleviated their distress and will feel comfortable with their sex. So, seeing that there's so much focus on getting kids on a medical pathway, which is going to make them a lifelong medical patient, is just very concerning.
It sounds like these kids are being used as guinea pigs, like they're being experimented on. Because in one of the videos, a doctor told attendees that children should be informed that cross-sex hormones will likely make them infertile, but admitted that he prescribed them anyway if a child says that they want the treatment, regardless of the future consequences.
Right. I mean, I think when we talk about informed consent, I mean, I know when I was 12, 13, 14, I'm a mother now, but I had no idea what being a woman was or what being a mother would be like. So the idea that any child can consent to the loss of their fertility is just crazy. I mean, we know that that's unethical, that we don't allow that. And yet with these treatments, like to your point, there's a known risk and a very high risk of infertility, and yet kids are being given them.
No, wait a second. No. I understand from WPATH affiliated doctors that if you don't go along with that as the adult, you're the one who has a mental illness.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there was, one doctor, the question of, if you have the puberty block, this is kind of the first step of being medicalized, then you have sex change hormones, and then you have the surgeries. And one of the doctors actually questioned if they even were to save the eggs. So that's something we'll say for puberty blockers. Oh, well, we'll sperm bank or we'll save your eggs. And this one doctor said, well, would those eggs even be fertile? Because the children haven't even gone through puberty yet to have their reproductive system get to a point where it can be fertile. So, I mean, it's really bizarre to hear people who are part of a profession that parents have long trusted, right, really saying some things that are very, very questionable, to say the least.
Well, the euphemistic language to all of this, is should be setting off alarms. I noted from your reporting a surgeon euphemistically referring to a phalloplasty procedure.
What's that?
Going from vagina to penis. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's an adventure for a young person.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like going to Great America, going to Six Flags. It's an adventure.
Yeah, I don't know that that's what I would call personally an adventure. I mean, the phalloplasty series, that same surgeon said with the radial arm phalloplasty. So that's where when they take a very deep amount of tissue, it's not just like a superficial skin graft, to then create a fake penis for a woman. Said that the average amount of surgical procedures was 6 surgeries. So, I mean, you think about all the things that you can read the reporting in the article. I mean, I won't get into it because it's quite graphic, but it's important for people to understand just how this is really disrupting normative function and has a very high complication rate. And the doctor said could be as high as 80%. And we're talking about a function that's extremely important to the body. You have to be able to urinate to excrete all kinds of bad toxins from your body. It's very important. So you're taking a normative function. Someone's body who's healthy and functioning, they're just struggling with mental distress, and you're really creating less function and medicalizing them and making them a patient for life.
You could talk to a lot of the residents of Hinsdale, the men there, about having a fake penis.
Oh, stop. So who is on this RATH committee, this World Professional Association for Transgender Health? Are they all from all over North America? Are they all Americans? What's their backgrounds?
Yeah, so it's all throughout the world. There is a subsidiary regional group called USPath, but these are all doctors who are involved in transgender medicine. And from these tapes, I think one of the things that was really significant about these tapes is that this was a conference that was training other doctors in transgender health. So if you went through these videos, you could get a transgender health certification, basically. So these are very top experts, people who are very well known, I would say well known in this field, saying that, things like, hey, we don't really know how puberty blockers are going to impact the brain development. We understand that when we give a child puberty blockers, they're probably not getting the calcium they need, which means they're at risk for developing osteoporosis. So you're hearing people who are supposedly the experts in this field just raise some very legitimate concerns that a lot of people, like the pediatrician group calling for an end of this these medical interventions in the U.S. are raising.
Right, and yet you hear politicians and LGBTQ2SIA++ advocates talking about, puberty blockers are medically safe. And in point of fact, we don't know that. And the scientific evidence, and this is what we got from Dr. Jill Simons as well, the scientific evidence indicates that it's more likely than not that they're very unsafe when it comes to the development of young people. And so, it's the euphemisms, the dishonesty. It all should have the spidey senses of parents tingling, shouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I would say to parents to absolutely, if you're in a situation where you're facing a child who is experiencing distress, to seek out good resources and people who will help you, because we want kids, like I said, reference this study. I mean, it's been well known, something that people have been saying for a while, is that the majority of kids are going to resolve this distress by the time they finish puberty, by the time they reach adulthood. And we want to see kids reach adulthood with healthy bodies, not with things like having their breasts removed or having had been on medication that might make them infertile for the rest of their lives. I mean, even with the testosterone, for girls, one of the irreversible effects is it could deepen your voice. You could have male pattern baldness. So I mean, these are things that these poor girls. A lot of this is happening. Girls, happens to boys too, but it's girls are being more impacted by this social contagion, what it really is.
Well,
you think about these girls having this for the rest of their lives.
Well, the other thing too is it should strike people as odd, the desire to cut parents out of the equation if they're not fully on board, if they have these sorts of questions that you're raising. And we see legislation pending in California, for example, to do just that. Why would you want to cut a parent out of a significant medical decision for their child? That should, as I said, have parents expressing considerable skepticism.
Absolutely. And I think that this ideology really views parents or anybody who doesn't, quote unquote, affirm the child's new chosen sex as harming their child. So the system is increasingly viewing parents, even from a legal perspective, as you see these laws around the country being, trying to get passed. It really does view parents who don't buy into this as the problem, which is very scary. And to your point, it should really concern parents.
From the conference where you obtained all these videos and documents from 2022, was there any talk about the money to be made? Because we've seen some of this, like I remember a hospital associated with Vanderbilt University, you had one of the explanatory videos about what you can charge for and how much money an institution can make from these procedures if you do X, Y, and Z. And then that was taken down because it was, of course, viewed as a bit too much disclosure. It was a little bit came across as perhaps as a little bit craven, and heaven forbid they come across as anything other than altruistic. We know that some of the money behind the institutions from wealthy leftist families like the Pritzkers, but what about discussions among these professionals about the money to be made?
Yeah, I mean, this was primarily about just the actual medical procedures and also the mental health aspects, but I read reports separately and estimates that the sex change surgery market could reach, like, I think over $5 billion by 2030. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, when I'm listening to, particularly with the surgery piece of it, you think about potentially six different surgical procedures, and possibly needing, I mean, for the phalloplasty, that's the creation of the fake penis. One of the things that happens is that the urethra can narrow and it has to be reopened up. So, I mean, you have patients who are going to be going back to the medical system for multiple surgeries, and you also have all of the medication. You have, there's all kinds of things. There's such a huge open door for a lot of different procedures, which equals a lot of money.
And do they want the insurance companies to cover this, the cost of the?
Of course they do.
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of many insurance companies, even state insurance, like Medicaid plans or CHIP plans, will cite the WPATH standards of care to help guide physicians and insurance companies on
of course
when and how they should approve
who,
these. So that's Yeah.
Well, I mean, how many individuals could afford this out of pocket? Of course, they have to go to the state. I mean, in point of fact, California is doing it for migrants, for illegal immigrants, for God's sakes, because it's such a cash cow and a constituency developer. I mean, of course. Megan Brock, investigative researcher for the Daily Caller, the series, the WPATH tapes, over at dailycaller.com. Check it out. Check out the videos, the documents they were able to obtain. Megan Brock, thanks so much for joining us. Great work. We appreciate it.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. And you can follow her on Twitter or X at Meg, M-E-G-E Brock. And she joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one, Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
BP's Whiting Refinery is hosting a community night on Thursday, June 20th from 3 to 7 p.m. Come learn more about how an oil refinery works, products made, and the people who make it run. There will be food, fire trucks, and STEM activities for kids. It's the Whiting Refinery Community Night, Thursday, June 20th from 3 to 7 at the Mascot Hall of Fame, 1851 Front Street in Whiting.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
I work for the New York City Fire Department. I've been using Balance of Nature for 8 years, I believe. It's been phenomenal. And I just got retired after 33 years. I work long hours, a lot of overtime. I teach at the Fire Academy. I run with the mornings. I work out all the time. And your product has been so successful for me in my regiment. I have nothing but high praise for you guys.
Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer. And for a limited time, get 35% off your first order, plus $10 off any additional sets. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Hey, business owners, are you wondering how to grow your business? Do you need cash flow and a ready source for financing? Well, Signature Bank can help. Hi, Mike Gallagher here to let you know that Signature Bank's loan decisions are made locally by a team who knows your name, cares about your business, and is invested in your success. When you need advice about your business or even have a question, Signature Bank is there to help. There are no handoffs or call centers. This is a team that wants to get to know you and your business. That's why Signature Bank in Chicago is my bank. That's right. I'm a customer. When I call, someone picks up the phone on the other end. And with Signature Bank, I can securely bank anywhere, anytime. Reach out to my friends at Signature Bank. Call 773-467-5630. That's 773-467-5630. Or visit them online at signaturebank.bank. Signaturebank.bank. Your business could be Signature Bank's next success story. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Chicagoland certified financial planning professional Tim Stearns discusses taxes in retirement.
Most people are paying more in taxes and keeping less of their money to live and do what they enjoy. That's why we've put out the retirement tax bill calculator online. You can see with your own eyes just how much you might be overpaying. It's a valuable tool, $500 value, but we made it free for you to view and run your own numbers at mvpcfp.com. That's mvpcfp.com.
To run your retirement tax bill calculator, go to mvpcfp.com. Investment advisory services offered through Cornerstone Securities, LLC.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We'll talk the horse race, maybe a little AI, too. Will AI have an impact this fast on the 2024 election? We'll discuss it all, I should say, with John Hindraker, president of the Center for the American Experiment. PowerlineBlog.com is his outlet. John Hindraker at 8:08.
We're going to have a chance of showers and thunderstorms this afternoon. Mostly sunny, but hot this entire week. A high today near 97 degrees. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday look about the same. It's now 8 a.m. WIND Chicago.
A meeting of American adversaries. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Russia's leader is getting ready to take a trip to North Korea And Vladimir Putin will visit the capital for the first time in 24 years.
Russia's president arrives in Pyongyang tomorrow for a 2-day state visit. President Putin's talks with Kim Jong-un are expected to focus on military and scientific cooperation. Their alliance has flourished since Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine in February 2022. The US and South Korea have accused the North Koreans of supplying Russia with weapons, possibly in exchange for military technology and aid. Both Pyongyang and Moscow deny this.
That's Fox's Jonathan Savage. The American journalist who's been jailed in Russia for more than a year will go on trial June 26th. And since it's an espionage case, Evan Gershkovich's trial will be behind closed doors. The Wall Street Journal reporter denies he's a spy. The U.S. calls him wrongfully detained, demanding Russia release Gershkovich. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has disbanded his war cabinet days after 2 members resigned, questioning the future of the war against Hamas in Gaza. 10 days before the first Trump-Biden debate, an attack ad.
In the courtroom, we see Donald Trump for who he is.
Fresh off a $30 million campaign haul in L.A., the Biden campaign releasing this ad called Character Matters, attacking the presumptive Republican nominee for his legal troubles that include a conviction on 34 charges related to hush money payments. The Trump campaign responding by accusing President Biden of weaponizing the justice system against former President Trump.
Fox's Ryan Schmelz. It is heating up. From the Midwest to the Northeast, Fox meteorologist Janice Dean says it's a
heat dome across the eastern third of the country that dip in the jet stream. And then that's also going to allow heavy rain to move into the Gulf Coast, specifically Texas. Potential record highs today for Chicago, Lansing, Michigan, Syracuse, New York.
It could reach the mid-90s and then get hotter later in the week. America's.
Good morning. It's 83 degrees in Chicago on AM 560 The Answer. I'm Crystal Blue in the AM 560 newsroom. Partly cloudy today, slight chance for thunderstorms and a high near 94. One man is dead and 4 other people are hurt following a fire in Chicago's South Shore neighborhood. Police say the blaze broke out early Saturday in a 3-flat apartment in the 2400 block of East 78th Street. One man was pronounced dead at the scene. A man, woman, and 2-year-old boy and 7-year-old boy were sent to the hospital. The cause of the fire is under investigation. Flight attendants are working hard to negotiate better contract terms with airlines amid the busy summer travel season. Garrett Tenney at O'Hare International Airport has more.
These negotiations for a new contract have been going on for more than 5 years now, going back to before the pandemic. And this week, the two sides are in Washington meeting with federal mediators to give the talks one last chance before flight attendants walk off the job. The soonest that could happen would be late next month. Flight attendants at dozens of airports were picketing as part of a worldwide day of action, since both United and Alaska Airlines also have ongoing negotiations with their flight attendants. The biggest sticking point in the negotiations is pay. Inflation has gone through the roof over the past 5 years, but flight attendant salaries haven't really changed. The average starting salary for a flight attendant is now around $27,000, $28,000.
American Airlines flight attendants at DFW International Airport in Texas picketed after the CEO tried to give them a pay raise without an official agreement. A massive heat wave will threaten temperature records this week throughout the Midwest and Northeast. The National Weather Service says some places could experience the longest heat wave they've seen in decades. The highest risk is in the Great Lakes region into the Northeast, including Chicago, Detroit, Cleveland, New York City, and Boston. Temps could be as high as 15 to 20 degrees above normal today, and even hotter through the rest of the week. News is a service of the AM 560 Advantage. Membership has its privileges, including early access to event tickets, exclusive contest opportunities, and special members-only content. Join today at 560theanswer.com/join. A check of the roads coming up in 2 minutes, but time now for the AM 560 Business Beat.
I'm Elizabeth McDonald, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Goldman Sachs is more optimistic about how the stock market will end the year. It has raised its year-end target for the S&P 500 to 5,600. It was earlier projecting 5,200. Goldman says the change reflects strong earnings from top tech companies. Shares of chipmaker Taiwan Semiconductor are up 3%. Analysts at Citi see TSMC with surging demand from its cloud and artificial intelligence business for the next year and a half. Merger news. Blue Triton Brands, parent company of Poland Spring, is merging with Primo Water in an all-stock deal. Some economists in the UK are predicting Taylor Swift could prevent the Bank of England from lowering interest rates. Her Eras tour comes to the UK this summer. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Jenny Cosola, invested in you.
Dennis Prager explains the issue with the next generation.
Just having to listen to an opinion they don't agree with is considered an act of, quote, violence, unquote. That's right. That's exactly what the speech is, violence. This is what happens when no one ever loses and everyone gets a prize.
The Dennis Prager Show. Weekdays at 11, right before Charlie Kirk at 1 on AM 560. The Answer.
Support our police and hire the police to personally protect you. You've watched the news. Rising crime has been affecting our everyday lives in Illinois more and more these days. Blue Star Security can protect you, your business, or your place of worship. Blue Star Security is the only security company in Chicago with over 900 off-duty police officers, all W-2 employees.
I'm Jeffrey Salvetti, Vice President of Blue Star Security and a 15-year law enforcement veteran. The Blue Star team is made up of over 900 state-certified active and retired law enforcement professionals. We serve businesses and private organizations with supply chain and special event security, and also protect our loved ones at places of worship and schools all across the Chicagoland area. Blue Star Security's technology allows mobilization of off-duty officers quickly and efficiently. Our primary mission is to provide unparalleled protective services for each assignment with integrity while maintaining our commitment to community service in the Chicagoland area.
Visit online to schedule a free security consultation at bluestarsecurityllc.com. That's bluestarsecurityllc.com.
You've heard Remke's Garage commercials on AM 560, and now they specialize in servicing Sprinters and light-duty diesels. But the experts at Remke's also service Isuzu and Chevy low-cab forward trucks. So if you own an Isuzu or Chevy low-cab forward truck but aren't sure where to get it repaired, take it to Remke's Garage, your #1 dealer alternative for repairs to your Isuzu NPR, Isuzu F-Series, or Chevy low-cab forward truck. Whether gas or diesel, your truck is the lifeline of your business. That's why Remke's Garage offers free loaners while your truck is being serviced. They'll even pick up and deliver for your convenience. Remke's Garage has the factory scan tool to properly diagnose Isuzu and Chevy low-cab forward trucks. Their commitment to your business is backed with a complimentary maintenance plan and free 2-year warranty. Go to remkesgarage.com to learn more about their specialization in Isuzu and Chevy low-cab forward trucks and schedule your appointment today. That's Remkes, REMKES, garage.com.
Hey guys, Donald Trump Jr. here. Let me ask you this. Does inflation feel worse than what we're being told in the news? That's because the official inflation rate doesn't tell the whole story. Since January 2021, the cost of living has increased by 17.9%. You can't get that money back, but what you can do is stop your losses today. How? By diversifying your savings into a gold IRA from my friends at Birch Gold Group. When you're done, your money will be parked in a tangible asset with a proven history. To see how it works, get your free info kit on gold IRAs by texting the word PROTECT to 989898. I trust Birch Gold. They provide an easy process to roll over your 401k or IRA into gold without losing your tax-advantaged status. So text PROTECT to 989898. That's PROTECT to the number 989898 to get your free info kit on gold IRAs from Birch Gold.
Message and data rates may apply. Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer from the AM 560 Traffic Center.
In the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchek taking a look at the road, starting with I-80 eastbound, where we have an accident closing the entrance ramp from Chicago. On the inbound side of the Edens, that's heavy at 20 minutes in from Lake Cook Road to Montrose. Kennedy going in from the airport. It is a 50-minute trip. Eisenhower 45, 390 into the post office. Going in on the Stevenson, 45 minutes. 355 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive, 20 minutes on the inbound side of the Dan Ryan. Still very heavy southbound DuSable Lakeshore Drive, Monroe to Soldier Field. That is all due to ongoing construction. Scattered delays on all of the tollways right now. Eastbound on the Reagan, traffic very tight from Roosevelt to the Tri-States. Traffic is sponsored by Bank of America. Bank of America has powerful digital solutions for local and global businesses so you can make every move matter. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. Bank of America, NA, copyright 2024. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now a check of your forecast from the National Weather Service.
Now, your official weather forecast.
Partly sunny, breezy, and hot. The high today at 95. Partly cloudy, breezy evening. And look for a low of 77. Partly sunny, windy, a hot one tomorrow. Thunderstorm in spots for the afternoon. The high tomorrow, 95. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. You know, sometimes I see things that lead me to just throw up my hands and prepare for rapture. I feel like this is the pre-rapture, pre-party to rapture.
And the cicadas out don't really help you.
Yeah, right. The pestilence, the plagues. Yeah, right. Yeah. And sort of actually rooting for it. Rooting for this to be the pre-party for rapture.
Are you ready? Is it time?
Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about.
Please do.
Lady MAGA, so this is a drag queen, interviewing a queer for Palestine, discussing war in the Middle East.
Yeah, this is great. Lady Mega does these series, so follow her on Twitter.
No, don't.
I mean,
actually.
And so I did a study abroad in the Middle East with Israel and Palestine.
Would you say you're pro-Palestine or pro-Israel?
Pro-Palestine.
As a gay man, I would be punished and or put in prison or killed if I were openly gay in Palestine. How do you react to that?
I didn't know that. So
it is illegal to be gay in Palestine. You are punished by prison or death.
First of all, there is
No, Israel has gay pride. Israel is completely open to lesbian and gay people. Palestine puts them in prison or kills them. You weren't aware of that?
I was not aware of that, no. So that does pose an interesting aspect.
Have you seen the Queers for Palestine movement? It's a very common movement, but I don't see any Muslims for Queer movements.
Yes. That's where it gets gray, right? Like, that's where I feel
Well,
like...
for me, it's not gray. I am fearful of Islam because there is no Islamic country on earth that embraces me as a gay man.
So, okay, so maybe I'm confused because Israel, which is still an Islam country, right?
No, Jewish.
These people vote, guys.
Okay.
So Israel's Jewish, Palestinians are Islamic.
Okay.
Did come back, Dan.
She did a study abroad about in Israel, or she said something, a study abroad in Israel, and she thinks Israel is a Muslim country.
She just said that. That's a lie. There's no way.
But
if she studied abroad, she didn't know that.
If that is the debate, if those represent the parameters of the debate and the quality of the debate, then I am going to retire and live in an undisclosed location and wait for the cold finger tap on my shoulder. For more on this and other political matters, we're pleased to be joined by John Hinderaker, president of the Center for the American Experiment, contributor to Powerline, powerlineblog.com. John, thanks for joining me. Appreciate it.
Hey, great to be with you, Dan.
So we're relying on Lady MAGA to make progress in these culture wars.
You know, Dan, the sheer depth of ignorance, as you say,
on both sides.
So 2 weeks ago, my organization, American Experiment, had our annual dinner, big fundraiser every year. We had former Israeli Prime Minister, and I think future Prime Minister, Naftali Bennett. as our featured speaker. And so naturally, 100 or a couple hundred protesters showed up, and banged drums and tried to make noise. It was kind of a pathetic display. But one of our staffers went out into the crowd to interview some of the protesters. And you probably have seen this done by others as well. They're chanting from the river to the sea, right? So he starts asking them, so what's that all about? What river? What river is that? What sea? And of course we filmed this and put it up, and these people have no idea. One of them says, I don't do geography.
Right.
And they have no idea what they are even talking about.
Yeah, but Lady Maga is referring to a place that doesn't exist. So, I mean, there's a lot of ignorance that goes around, and frankly, there is a lot on our side where we don't even appreciate what this LGBTQIA Two-Spirit plus deal is all about. We don't understand it properly as a Marxist political movement, and so we make fun of the useful idiots who don't know what river and what sea. But so many of us are missing the big picture here too.
Well, that's true. I mean, it's really interesting. This whole trans thing came along, week before last. I mean, the idea that there's no such thing as biology after all these thousands of years, men and women don't really exist. It's just a construct, and you can change your gender, which has somehow been freed from sex, which it's identical to. This whole movement, you're right, has got a very sinister purpose, and it's not just coincidental that all of a sudden everywhere we turn, we're seeing it.
I wonder, you wrote about AI in the context of the data center needs for these AI developers. We've talked about that too, so in the environmental. What about on the political? I just wonder, there's more ChatGPT posts where people are testing out the bias. For example, this is a good one. If one could save the world from a nuclear apocalypse by misgendering Caitlyn Jenner, would it be okay to misgender in this scenario? Provide a concise yes/no reply. ChatGPT's reply is no.
I saw that.
Misgendering Caitlyn Jenner to save the world from nuclear holocaust is that's a no. That's a hard no.
Yeah. Well, the programmers have not imbued artificial intelligence with any moral sense whatsoever.
Well,
evidently.
Right. And so, but I wonder too, and part of this is like a penetration question. How much is it really being utilized? How many people are really in this space at present? But this can happen quickly. Just trying to think about, we talk so much about the impact of social media on electoral outcomes over the last couple of cycles. What about AI? What's your view?
Well, I think it's scary from a political perspective. I think it's scary from multiple perspectives. I mean, my experience with AI is that it's not very intelligent. And I keep hearing that, 50% of all the jobs in America could be replaced by AI. And my reaction is, wow, if that rather feeble program can do your job, you should probably get a shovel and go out and start digging a ditch, because, this is not very smart artificial intelligence. But no, it is scary, and it's of a piece with a lot of things that we see. All of these tools of modern civilization have been structured in such a way as to benefit the left. And social media is an obvious example of that. But before we had social media, we had the newspapers, and we had the TV networks, and we had Hollywood, and you name an institution, and it's going to be taken over and to serve the purposes of the left. And so I would say AI is just one more in a long series.
Well, the only thing about AI that's different, because of where we are right now, is we have an opportunity, just as we did at the advent of radio and television. We have an opportunity to build our own castle. We're always talking about building our own castles and trying to play, and in the context of trying to play catch up. But here, and maybe Elon Musk will win the day, hopefully so, at least relative to our other options. Here, we're still ground floor. We have the opportunity to build competing AI platforms, so that we're not playing catch up a decade from now.
Well, I hope so. That's an optimistic scenario, and I guess the question then becomes, what platforms do people actually use? I think the most alarming news that I hear about AI is its widespread use by companies. Right? Apparently, many corporations are using artificial intelligence, and they're using it for things like partial replacement of their HR departments. Now, HR departments are so bad, such a force for evil that you're tempted to say AI can only be an improvement. But, history tells us that it's not very likely, even if we conservatives come up with a competing AI platform, not very likely that ours is going to be the one that's adopted by corporate America.
Well, how is AI on a collision course with the green movement and green energy transitions?
Yeah, so the green energy transition, number one, it's not happening. Last year, use of natural gas increased 9.5 times as fast as wind and solar combined increased. So, the transition, we're seeing more fossil fuel use around the world than at any time in human history. But the answer to your question, Amy, is that AI consumes an enormous amount of electricity. And so these two things are on a collision course. I mean, if we really deploy AI in the way that people are talking about, it is going to require vast quantities of new power, new electricity. And you simply cannot generate the necessary electricity with wind and solar, which the large majority of the time don't work at all. And so something's got to give. Either AI is not going to be deployed in the United States, or liberals are going to have to give up on this supposed green transition, which they've staked, trillions of dollars on.
Talking about secondary issues, secondary to inflation and people's economic well-being. It seems like conservatives are going to zero in on immigration and border security. You heard that over the weekend at the Turning Point event in Detroit. And, of course, the left will focus in on abortion. Who, if either side is correct in prosecuting those issues as their issues? Who do you have faith or concern will prosecute their chosen secondary issue most effectively?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, I live in Minnesota, where in 2022 it looked like the issues were aligned perfectly for Republican victory. Cost of living, crime, education, and so on. And the Democrats bet the whole House on abortion. Every single television ad they ran was about abortion. It was the only issue that they ever talked about. And they won. They staved off what seemed like certain defeat by mobilizing. Apparently, the ability to kill unborn children is the most popular platform on which a politician can run. So that worries me. We see that hundreds of millions of dollars are being budgeted around the country to be spent in swing states on one issue, the issue of abortion. On paper, I would say that illegal immigration is a far more powerful issue. It affects vastly more people. I just don't know if you've got the same single-minded dedication to turn millions of people out to the polls on the basis of illegal immigration. I hope so.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly, we were talking about it earlier in the program. I don't think you do. And the proof is how close things are, despite the fact that supermajorities of Americans basically have the position of the Republican Party, of Trump and the Republican Party on the border, and yet the race is where it is in these swing states. And, you can talk about Laken Riley, and you can talk about this
Rachel Moore,
unfortunate woman who was murdered in Maryland. They've just identified the suspect in that case, who's another illegal immigrant from El Salvador.
Who killed a woman in El Salvador, too.
Yeah, he was fleeing a murder charge in El Salvador. Right. I want to know, did they give him a free cell phone? Did he use the Joe Biden app to expedite his illegal entry into the U.S.? I don't think we know the answers yet.
Well, right, but it has the feeling of talking about the repeat violent offender, the indigenous repeat violent offender in a place like Chicago or Minneapolis, who goes out and commits another crime, and everybody wrings their hands and says that's terrible, and then votes for the same people.
Well, you're right, Dan. I mean, I'm still waiting for the first blue city to turn red based on the painful experience of decades of liberal governance. That hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, no, I think this is like a discussion that needs to get leveled up to decision makers at the Trump campaign and RNC level. This abortion immigration thing that we're discussing, because the example you provide from Minnesota is the salient one. I mean, until we can prove that that issue is overcomeable, which we haven't in the last several cycles, we may want to, not just not pay attention to it because we don't exactly have a comfortable way to deal with it, and we're just going to pretend we can get over the top by focusing on something other than what, a lot of suburbanites have decided is their raison d'etre, as you said.
Yeah, a lot of Republicans have taken the position that it's just not an issue in their particular state. Nothing's going to change. So, for example, in 2022, the Republican candidate for governor, he told me after the election that every time he got up to give a speech, an aide would say to him, now remember, don't mention the A word, right? The A word. Nothing about abortion. Abortion is not an issue. Well, he wound up getting clobbered by, 8 points because the voters thought that the election was all about abortion because that was the only thing the Democrats were talking about.
Right. You have to address it. John Hinderaker, President, Center for the American Experiment, contributor to PowerlineBlog.com. John, thanks as always.
Great to be with you, Dan.
Thanks. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Are you turning 65 and thinking about Medicare? Or are you over 65 and haven't enrolled yet because you still have coverage at work? Either way, Medicare done correctly will be the best health insurance you will ever have. Imagine having an annual deductible of only $240. There are only two good things about aging, wisdom and Medicare. But to navigate the Medicare maze properly, you need a mentor. Best part, my guidance cost you nothing. Call me. I can help.
If you're tired of calling a bureaucrat at an 800 number to help you navigate Medicare, then you need a local expert on your side, your own health insurance mentor. C. Stephen Tucker from healthinsurancementors.com is someone I know and trust. He's a 30-year licensed broker who's been educating our listeners for more than a decade. Steve, how can our listeners get in touch with you?
Thanks, Dan. They can visit healthinsurancementors.com or call me directly at 630-674-1551. That's 630-674-1551.
If you're often feeling tired, lacking motivation and drive, gaining weight, or noticing a loss of muscle mass, these could all be signs of low testosterone. Don't wait. Find out. At Low T Center, they make it easy to get your levels checked. It's just a simple blood test, and with their on-site lab, you get your results back in about 25 minutes. Low T Center is not a typical doctor's office. Their physicians specialize in treating low testosterone with customized treatment for each patient. The experts at Low T Center have more than a decade of experience helping patients achieve life-changing results, and most health insurance is accepted for treatment. For established patients with stable T levels, they also offer a convenient physician-monitored self-inject treatment plan that ships directly to your home each month, so there's no need to come in for weekly visits. And at Low T Center, your BMI and health can also be evaluated for treatment with prescription weight loss medication. So get back to your best and tell them Dan Prof sent you when you do. When you do, go to lowtcenter.com to book your appointment today. That's lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
When your home or business has an insurance claim, the next step is very important. The claim process with insurance can be tedious, hard to understand, and difficult to navigate. You need someone working for you. You need a licensed claim adjuster. Why? The insurance company will send out their inspectors that work for them, get paid by them, and represent them, not you.
This is Dan Lights from Crosscom. We inspect your property, file your claim, negotiate the damages, and maximize your settlement with your insurance company. If we complete the repairs approved by your insurance company, our service is free. Crosscom Public Adjusters has turned denied claims into approved claims. We've also increased insurance claims anywhere from 23 to 1,000%. We are licensed by the Department of Insurance and work in Illinois, Northwest Indiana, and Southern Wisconsin. Crosscom Public Adjusters, 630-871-5500. Online at crosscominc.com. That's crosscominc.com. Crosscom, building trust for over 20 years.
All right, it's going to be a warm week. And are you going to be forced to stay inside because of chronic pain in your knee, your shoulder, your hip, your back? Well, you don't have to live like that, and you don't have to get surgery to fix it. Talk to our good friends at QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. We're talking lasting joint pain relief with no surgery, no drugs, no downtime. Here's how it works. QC Kinetics advanced treatments harness your own body's ability to restore and repair damaged joint tissue. So you could walk and run, hike, play golf, play pickleball, move again, pain-free. QC Kinetics is under the leadership of former orthopedic surgeon Dr. Mitchell Scheinkup. He's a true pioneer in regenerative medicine. Their advanced protocols have enabled tens of thousands of patients to reclaim their mobility, so stop putting it off. Take action now and live your best life again. Call QC Kinetics for a free consultation. They'll walk you through it, explain in further detail how it works. They're open on Saturdays, too, with new locations in Crystal Lake and Gurnee. 312-809-5955. That's 312-809-5955. 312-809-5955.
Can peace of mind fit into just 3 fruits and 3 veggie supplements? Yes. We start by sourcing the best fruit and vegetable ingredients. We ensure that all our produce meets our rigorous standards in order to give you the highest quality product possible. They are then washed, cut, and put through an advanced vacuum-cooled process that removes the water using pressure. We then take great care in grinding them into a fine powder. These powdered ingredients are then mixed and encapsulated, locking out air and moisture. The capsules are then bottled and shipped right to your door so you can experience your own personal Balance of Nature success story.
I've looked at other supplements out there, and they don't have what Balance of Nature has.
Balance of Nature really was the game changer. I'm serious, it works.
Go to balanceofnature.com and get 35% off plus $10 off any additional sets as a preferred customer by using discount code CHICAGO.
It's your life, your legacy. Shouldn't it be your choice? For nearly 2 centuries, Catholic Cemetery Chicago has been a haven for families, offering sacred spaces to honor these legacies. Take an active role by pre-planning your final arrangements. Alleviate your loved ones a future financial burden. Lock in today's prices and take advantage of no interest payments and no hidden fees. Visit CatholicCemeteriesChicago.org or call 708-236-5490 to schedule a free consultation today.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
It's important, according to harm reduction experts, to make boofing safe for the young people.
Okay.
Safe boofing in Chicago at 8:38.
I don't even know what boofing is. Are you going to explain that to the older people who don't even know what it is?
Yeah, I'll explain.
All right, I won't Google it. But now let's head into the news. New Crystal Blue in for Mike Scott.
Good morning. It's 84 degrees in Chicago on AM 560, The Answer. I'm Crystal Blue in the AM 560 newsroom. Look for partly cloudy skies today, slight chance for some thunderstorms, and a high near 94. A Cook County woman is accused of receiving thousands of dollars from multiple fraudulent COVID-19 unemployment assistance claims. Tina Zumas faces numerous charges, including theft of government property. Illinois Attorney General Kwame Raoul claims between June 2020 and June 2021, Zumas submitted multiple COVID-19 unemployment assistance claims that were determined to be fraudulent. She also used her own information to submit a phony Paycheck Protection Program loan application and received thousands of dollars for a business that didn't exist. The National Weather Service is confirming that several tornadoes hit central Illinois last week. The survey team was able to find damage that showed a tornado hit 3 different locations Thursday evening. One tornado touched down just northeast of Lexington in McLean County. The other 2 tornadoes touched down in the Anchor to Gibson City region. Chicago's outdoor pools are expected to open today for the summer. The city's 77 outdoor and indoor pools will be open 6 days a week due to an increase in the number of lifeguards. The city's only inland beach, Humboldt Park Beach, is reopening for the first time since 2020. News is a service of Crosscom Public Adjusters. If your home or business has an insurance claim, Crosscom will help you get what you need and have coming to you. They've helped thousands. CrosscomPublicAdjusters.com. A check of the roads coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
Windy City Safes in Niles wants to help you celebrate America this summer by giving away a Liberty Personal Home Safe. Enter to win from now until the 4th of July at 560theanswer.com/safe. That's 560theanswer.com/safe. And make sure to stop by Windy City Safe's showroom at 7310 North Milwaukee Avenue in Niles and receive a free American flag to display in your home or business while supplies last.
Can peace of mind fit into just 3 fruits and 3 veggie supplements? Yes. We start by sourcing the best fruit and vegetable ingredients. We ensure that all our produce meets our rigorous standards in order to give you the highest quality product possible. They are then washed, cut, and put through an advanced vacuum-cooled process that removes the water using pressure. We then take great care in grinding them into a fine powder. These powdered ingredients are then mixed and encapsulated, locking out air and moisture. The capsules are then bottled and shipped right to your door so you can experience your own personal Balance of Nature success story.
I've looked at other supplements out there, and they don't have what Balance of Nature has.
Balance of Nature really was the game changer. I'm serious, it works.
Go to balanceofnature.com and get 35% off plus $10 off any additional sets as a preferred customer by using discount code CHICAGO.
BP's Whiting Refinery is hosting a community night on Thursday, June 20th from 3 to 7 p.m. Come learn more about how an oil refinery works, products made, and the people who make it run. There will be food, fire trucks, and STEM activities for kids. It's the Whiting Refinery Community Night, Thursday, June 20th from 3 to 7 at the Mascot Hall of Fame, 1851 Front Street in Whiting.
Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer from the AM 560 Traffic Center.
A crash on the Dan Ryan inbound in the locals at 18th. You're hitting the brakes back at 51st, that left lane block. On the Dan Ryan from 95th into downtown, 33 minutes. The Kennedy Inn, 35 from O'Hare into downtown. It's heavier on the outbound side of the Kennedy. 46 minutes from downtown out to the airport. In Oak Brook, a crash at York and Spring Road. Lake Forest, a collision on Town Line Road eastbound just after the Tri-State 294 ramp. And in Oak Park, Austin area, Roosevelt Road, it's blocked. It's due to an earlier accident on Roosevelt between Cicero and Kilbourne. Traffic is brought to you by Audible. Why not escape the traffic with Audible? Immerse yourself in new worlds, stories, and ideas with an incredible selection of audiobooks, podcasts, and originals. There's more to imagine when you listen. Sign up for a free trial at audible.com. Reporting today from the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, I'm Joanne Jeanette.
Now, your official weather forecast.
Partly sunny, breezy, hot day today. The high at 95. It'll be partly cloudy, breezy, and warm tonight, low 77. A windy, hot day tomorrow. Partly sunny. Could run into a thunderstorm for the afternoon. The high at 95. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560. The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. I suppose I spoke too soon when I talked about the pre-party to rapture that we're currently enjoying as America's big cities, and more than that, big metropolitan areas, and more than that, disintegrate. But then I'm offered an infusion of confidence from the city of Portland and the state of Maine when it comes to providing boofing kits to their residents.
All right. Now, I thought that I was hipping with it, and I'm not. What is this boofing you speak of?
Well, I'm not an expert in the space. I just know about it because,
What is it?
You know, I'm on the scene down with the kids and what's going on in the community.
Does it have something to do with cigars?
This is a couple of harm reduction experts for a nonprofit in the state of Maine that's putting out the boofing kits.
Boofing? What?
So listen to them, and they'll make sure that you understand how to boof properly and safely. Safely, always important when it comes to boofing.
So what boofing is inserting drugs into your rectum.
What?
And one of the main reasons people do it is because there's a lot of blood vessels in your rectum and a lot of surface area. I always recommend people try boofing because switching to snorting can be a little too big of a jump.
I love that because I think also that helps with our minds. So if you're having a really hard time, hitting and it's really starting to you're getting in your head about it and you're starting to get frustrated, just knowing that you do have an option of boofing or booty bumping is I don't know, I think maybe brings a little bit more ease, right? You're like, okay, I'm getting really frustrated. This is really like, it's not working. Okay, I have this other option too.
And then if you want to inject later because you really enjoy the rush from injecting, like that's fine. But getting yourself well first can really just like take some of that frustration off.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm sorry. Some people refer to it as booty bumping. Maybe that's what you're more familiar with. Boofing, booty bumping, the same thing. An injection alternative where a person inserts their drugs into their rectum to allow absorption through the mucous membrane. And this is something your public health officials in Portland and Maine want to make sure you do safely.
Wait, they're actively encouraging drug use and different ways to abuse drugs.
You got kits. You got your needleless syringe. You got your lube. You got your cleansing towelettes. You've got your sterile saline, and you got your deep tin. And there you got your booty bumping or boofing kit, so that you can safely ingest fentanyl through your rectum.
312-642-5600 turnkey.pro answer line. I've never heard of this, and I cannot believe
some other rules of the road.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, when it comes to boofing or booty bumping. This again. I'm relying on the public health officials. Following the science. Following the science.
Hey, Dan, if it saves one life.
This is from Portland. They have a nice explanatory pamphlet that comes with your boofing kit. Just sort of rules of the road, as I said. Go slowly and have someone nearby with the Narcan when you boof your drugs. You can overdose if you boof an opioid or if your stimulant is cut with fentanyl. Yeah, don't not ingest fentanyl. Just do it the booty bumping way. How do I boof, you're asking? I thought you might.
There's a tutorial?
But this is part of this pamphlet. I mean, again, these are the experts, and we defer to the experts when it comes to doing things in a safe manner. You want to take your fentanyl. I get it. So let's do so safely, as safe as possible. All right, how do I boof? Try to find a safe and private spot to boof your drugs. Okay, step one. Take the deep tin and mix your drugs with the provided saline until fully dissolved, because undissolved crystals can cause irritation, when you stick them up your ass. Number 3.
I thought the rectal COVID test was bad.
It's preferred. Use one of the provided wipes to clean your hands and a separate wipe to clean your anus. Let me repeat that.
Can we stop?
One towelette for your hands and another towelette for your anus. Okay. Mm-hmm. It's that planet Uranus. It's that planet just north of Neptune.
What happened to Maine?
Draw up your dissolved drugs into the provided needleless syringe. Use the provided lube packet to coat the outside of the syringe. This will make insertion into your anus easier. Lay on your side with your knees pulled up in the fetal position, or however is most comfortable.
I'm feeling I can't even drink my Balance of Nature right now.
I prefer the fetal position anytime I'm in Chicago, just as my resting position. Okay.
Somebody texted in fecal lives matter.
All right. Where are we? Don't lose my place, because people are probably taking notes.
Oh, you said be in a ball and on your side?
Yeah, right. In the fetal position. Mm-hmm. The electorate in this city is already in the fetal position, so you're ready to go. You're ready to boof. Insert the syringe into your rectum. It doesn't need to go in that far, okay? And then push the plunger to release your mixture and let the syringe stay for a minute so nothing leaks out. And now you've just boofed or booty bumped. See? Booty bumping the Portland way or the Maine way. Or the Chicago way, I'm sure. I'm sure when this gets around, you'll want. Is your buddy, who is the public health director there, Arwadi?
Well, she's gone, and I don't know who that is.
Maybe we could get her on to talk about safe booty bumping here.
She works for the CDC now.
Well,
she got a promotion.
We can still have her on. Of course she did. I mean, we can have her on to talk about male pattern baldness, and we can have her on to talk about booty bumping. Bill in Cape Coral, Florida, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
It seems like women are the ones who fall for all this fads, or whatever you want to call them. They're the ones who are told to go get your lips blown up with some foreign objects, and they put needles in their lips. They pay $400 to $500 for a pair of jeans that are so ripped and holy, and yet they walk around and think that's because they're so easily led, maybe is the word, to fall for this silly nonsense. I mean, it's one fad after another. They just fall in line and become that, whatever. And then the thing with the butt, they shoot to make your butt swell out or something.
No, those are your butt lifts.
It's hilarious. It's hilarious.
I know someone who's getting a butt lift.
Thanks for the call, Bill. I know somebody with a butt implant.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, do tell. They just put did they lift it up too when they put in?
They wanted the, Kardashian J-Lo thing, I guess. And so I guess they do butt implants now. They do butt implants. They do calf implants.
Calf implants is a big one for you fellas, which is very surprising. Who cares? Women don't look at men's calves. Why are you wasting your money on that? Who cares?
Yeah.
But the booty bump. Do you want a booty bump, Dan?
No,
booty bump.
No, I
need a butt lift.
I'm good. That's an exit, not an entrance for me. But hey. Stu in Barrington, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
So a gay gentleman wants to meet this handsome doctor, and he goes to the doctor's office and says, "What's the matter?" He says, "I have this horrible pain in my rear." And the doctor takes a look, and he says, "Well, no wonder it hurts. There's a dozen roses stuck up there." And he goes, "Read the card. Read the card."
Why aren't they promoting
pretty good.
detox and rehab instead of promoting stick it in your bootay?
Are you passing judgment?
I'm a little judgy today. I know. You don't like when I act like that.
Frank in Board of Trade.
Let them burn.
Let who burn? The whole thing?
Let them burn. Portland, let them burn.
Thanks for the call, Frank. Yeah, well, I mean, that's what they're going to do. And, I mean, from the anus to the streets.
They want open opium dens.
Well, we're on the path to that, right? I mean, and you have, you had Portland, Oregon, experiment with decriminalization of hard drugs, and they're sort of reversing course now.
Oh, yeah, they are.
They're reversing course, except in Portland, where you still get your complimentary boofing kit. Oh, my God. The great disintegration of American culture, really, being led by the cosmopolitan intellects in the big metropolitan areas, right? Oh, and by the way, just on the other front, I know these issues, as we've been discussing, don't seem to have much resonance in terms of changing outcomes, that change leadership, that change policies, that change the culture and the trajectory of the particular community. But I did take notice of this shooting over the weekend in Chicago, just one, and it wasn't a murder. Thankfully, the guy survived.
Do you know how many people were shot this weekend?
It's the same.
48.
Same every weekend. Whatever.
48, 7 dead.
Nobody cares.
Okay, I'm just...
I mean, you cut and paste what you just said, and you say the same thing in June of 2023, 22, 21, going all the way back. This Groundhog Day business, and then we talk about it. I mean, how much evidence do you need that it's just... You're screaming into an abyss. All right, I got one more joke, and then we'll get to my thing. Perry and Niles, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning, Dan, Amy. God, this is great. What did the proctologist say to the blind man?
What did the proctologist say to the blind man, Perry?
How many fingers am I holding up?
Hi-oh! It's pretty good, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We live in a clown world.
Jack, Northwest Indiana.
You know, all of this discussion of butt implants, I think that what I'm waiting for is for the Democrats to perfect a brain implant. Maybe at that point in time, we can find a way out of this mess.
Thanks for the call, Jack. Tom in Barrington.
Good morning, guys.
Hi.
Here's the campaign for 24. The dumber, the higher, the better. Democrats 2024. Have a great day, guys.
Thanks, Tom. So just on the Great Disintegration, less ridiculous than boofing and booty bumping in Portland or Bangor. Jose Luis Jimenez is an ice cream vendor on the South Side. Been an ice cream vendor for 27 years. And this is what happened to him over the weekend, as reported by ABC7, and you'll hear from his son as well.
He says, one of them asked me how much the ice cream was, and I told him it was $3. He thought it was too much and said he had just 2. Jose Luis says that's when he walked away, until moments later he realized he had cheaper ice cream in his cart and wanted to offer the men some. That's when he says one of them lifted their shirt and flashed a gun. I realized he didn't want to buy any ice cream. He says what he wanted to do is rob me. Before he could leave the area, Jimenez was shot in the leg and fell to the ground. Jose Luis spent the last few days in the hospital. He's expected to be okay, but says that is likely the last time he'll be selling ice cream in Chicago. He says during every summer for the past 27 years, this has been my job, something I feel very proud of because it's an honest living.
No, I told already. I talked to my sister, I talked to my brother too. You got to stop this.
Today, a judge ordered the suspect, Paul Red, to be held behind bars until his next court appearance, citing his criminal history and inability to comply with court orders. The Jimenez family thankful, but still worried for the safety of hardworking people all across this city.
How many people die every day? Because this situation in Chicago, I think it's not working for nobody.
Well, it's working for somebody, young Mr. Jimenez, isn't it? Because that's why it exists. And you'll note that characterization of the suspect in custody being held because of past criminal record and inability to comply with court orders. Somebody that ostensibly shouldn't have been on the street.
Another preventable crime.
To shoot a older Latino gentleman who's worked as an ice cream vendor for 27 years now is not going to do that anymore. The little stories that don't register, the little people that don't matter in Chicago. As long as everybody gets their boofing kit, that's what's important.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer.
Your show keeps me alive during the week. There's nobody I'd rather listen to between 5 and 9 in the morning than you guys.
On AM 560, The Answer.
Hi, I'm Charlie Moon. I've been in the trading game for almost 20 years, and I just discovered the most powerful trading tool I've ever seen. So if you're trading stocks or options, then listen up. This new AI-powered trade finder can find you stocks to consider trading, which have had gains as high as 1,729% and have had nearly perfect win rates. It analyzes the entire stock market in seconds and pumps out a list of trades for you to consider every single morning. And the trades it finds can be potentially profitable regardless of which direction the market is moving. So if you want in on this action, listen closely. For a short amount of time, I'm opening up free access to some of these picks and giving you the chance to get top trade ideas from the AI Trade Finder every day for 100% free. Just text trade to 76626. Stop trying to find the right stocks to trade on your own. Just text trade to 76626 now and get access to the top trades our AI finds every single day. Text trade to 76626. Standard text and data rates may apply. Past performance is not indicative of future results. Text trade to 76626.
This summer, don't forget your Balance of Nature supplements. Remember, hot dogs, burgers, brats don't provide the fruits and vegetables your body desperately needs every day to stay healthy, happy, and energized. That's why I've That's why I've been supplementing with Balance of Nature for nearly a decade. It's so easy to open up the individual capsules and dust them over a salad or mix them into juice drinks or warm water. That's how I do it. And thousands of AM 560 listeners love their Balance of Nature, and you will too. 6 capsules a day provide your body, your heart, and your mind with over 10 servings of 31 different whole fruits and vegetables. You will love it. Your body, your mind, and your heart will thank you for it. So order your fruits and veggie supplements today by calling 800-246-8751. Use coupon code Chicago to save 35% off your first order and free shipping as a preferred customer. 800-246-8751. Call now or order online at balanceofnature.com. Coupon code Chicago. Balance of Nature fruits and vegetable supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
Are you turning 65 and thinking about Medicare? Or are you over 65 and haven't enrolled yet because you still have coverage at work? Either way, Medicare done correctly will be the best health insurance you will ever have. Imagine having an annual deductible of only $240. There are only two good things about aging, wisdom and Medicare. But to navigate the Medicare maze properly, you need a mentor. Best part, my guidance cost you nothing. Call me. I can help.
If you're tired of calling a bureaucrat at an 800 number to help you navigate Medicare, then you need a local expert on your side, your own health insurance mentor. C. Stephen Tucker from healthinsurancementors.com is someone I know and trust. He's a 30-year licensed broker who's been educating our listeners for more than a decade. Steve, how can our listeners get in touch with you?
Thanks, Dan. They can visit healthinsurancementors.com or call me directly at 630-674-1551. That's 630-674-1551.
Guys, it's summer and time to do more outdoors, but do you feel out of energy, lacking motivation and mental focus? It could be low testosterone. Low T affects millions of men and happens naturally. The solution, testosterone replacement therapy at Low T Center. It starts with a quick test and results are fast. Don't wait. Take control of your health today. And now Low T Center is offering a free initial test. So if you're over 30, schedule a visit lowtcenter.com today. Offers good until July 6th. That's lowtcenter.com. Terms and conditions apply.
AM 560, The Answer.
This is crazy.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So we began the show with this interview that CTU boss Stacey Davis Gates gave to Craig Dellimore on the BBM's At Issue program over the weekend, in which she said this about criticism she gets from conservatives about the contract demands of CTU.
Well, it's really interesting, and so I'll say two things. One, I'll take care of the conservative argument. Number one, conservatives don't even want black children to be able to read. Remember, these same conservatives.
Yeah, and then she went on. We supported black codes after during Reconstruction and so forth. Right, the race hustle.
Conservatives don't even want black children to learn how to read.
So I tweeted that conservatives don't even want black children to read, quoting her. And then I tweeted, it's disappointing Craig Dellimore let that Stacey Davis Gates statement go unchallenged. Of course, Gates exempts her decision to send her kid to private school from her fever dream that school choice, championed by conservatives, is a honky conspiracy to illiteratize black kids. I went on to say, conservatives can't hurt her politically, but she can't hurt conservatives either. She can only hurt minority kids in Chicago. She has, she is, and she will. She retweeted that with the statement in quotation marks, hot dogs holler.
What the heck does that mean?
I don't know what that means.
Hot dogs holler?
Yeah. What is that a black thing? Is that a union thing?
She blocked me, so
that a
I can't
communist
see
thing?
anything she retweets or tweets out.
Well, that's what she did.
Yeah.
Just hot dogs holler. It's 3 words. You don't need to see it. Hot dogs holler. Does that mean like I'm just a hot dog hollering at the power structure? I'm just screaming into the abyss kind of thing?
I guess so.
I'm just being a hot dog calling out Stacey Davis Gates?
Maybe you're a hot dog. You're sure a big braggadocious person. I don't know.
I don't think I'm bragging.
No.
I'm just pointing out, the obvious. But, yeah. I don't know.
She's probably going to try and fire me again. Thanks, Dan.
Wait.
Did she? Is she back at it?
No, I just don't want to see. Then I don't know. She may have blocked me after that.
Oh, she loves to block people. You say you criticize her, and boom, you're blocked.
No, I'm not.
I just asked her a question on Twitter. I said, "Explain how this is going to work. How you're going to dissolve the selective enrollment schools." Blocked.
No, I'm not. I'm not blocked.
Okay, good.
I don't know why.
Good.
Huh.
You have a line of communications with Stacey Davis Gates. Ooh.
I guess.
Hot diggity dog. Yeah.
Okay. Well, whatever. I don't know.
Somebody can explain it.
I wanted to talk about Bryson's balls, but I guess
Can we do that
got
tomorrow?
sidetracked by Stacey Davis Gates. Anyway, yeah, I do listen to the whole interview where she does. Don't worry, the conservatives criticizing her doesn't give her any anxiety. It's just unfortunate that I'm the only one doing it in Chicago. Huh.
Interesting.
All right.
But we will. Do you salt your balls? Can we talk about that tomorrow? Okay.
Yeah. Stay tuned for the exciting answer.
Okay. Thanks so much to Justin Kosick, our technical producer, and of course Quinn McCarthy, our executive producer. Hope he had a wonderful Father's Day. Today it's going to be hot and humid, a high near 97 degrees, and tonight maybe a chance of a shower or thunderstorm in parts. And then we're at it again tomorrow, a high of 93 degrees. It is 9 a.m. WIND Chicago.
Getting nastier. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
This election is between a convicted criminal who's only out for himself and a president who's fighting for your family.
That's the new Biden ad, days after a record $30 million fundraiser with Hollywood celebrities over the weekend, 10 days before the first Trump-Biden 2024 debate.
They are pouring $50 million into advertising for the remainder of June to get the pre-debate conversation more about Donald Trump's recent convictions.
Fox's Peter Ducey at the White House. The Trump campaign response that the President Biden ad proves that the sham trial, as they called the case in New York, was always meant to be election interference, weaponizing the legal system to hurt the former president politically. An American jailed in Russia finally has a trial date, June 26th, for Evan Gershkovich, a Wall Street Journal reporter whose espionage trial will be behind closed doors.
Accused by Russia of spying for the CIA. The U.S. government and the Journal have heatedly denied that. He has been held since March of last year. Arrested after the Russians say he was collecting information about a tank factory. But they haven't produced any evidence backing that up, and the Journal insists he was reporting.
Fox's Eric Shawn. Tomorrow, Russian leader Vladimir Putin goes to North Korea for a 2-day visit. Both countries deny U.S. accusations that North Korea has given Russia weapons and ammo to use in the war in Ukraine. The U.S. Surgeon General is warning of a mental health crisis for young Americans, saying social media is a big factor.
Surgeon General Vivek Murthy writes in an opinion piece in the New York Times, it is time to require a Surgeon General's warning label on social media platforms stating significant mental health harms for adolescents. A warning label would require congressional approval. Murthy says adolescents who spend more than 3 hours a day on social media face double the risk of anxiety and depression symptoms.
That's Fox's Jared Halpern. America's listening to Fox.
Good morning. It's 86 degrees in Chicago on AM 560 The Answer. I'm Crystal Blue in the AM 560 newsroom. Partly cloudy today, slight chance for thunderstorms, high near 94. An elderly man is dead after being hit by a vehicle in suburban Niles. Police say the victim was walking across Milwaukee Avenue yesterday morning when a vehicle hit him near the Gulf Mill Shopping Center. The victim was pronounced dead at the hospital. An investigation is underway. There's no word of any citations. Cleanup is underway on Chicago's west side after yesterday's storms came with heavy winds. This resident in the Austin neighborhood says children in the area are fortunate they weren't hurt when a large tree fell and damaged several cars.
It's very dangerous. You know, kids always out here in the street playing and whatever. And it was hot today, and I'm surprised and I'm glad that there were no kids out here.
Damage was also spotted in West Suburban Lombard, where high winds brought down tree limbs. News is brought to you by Blue Star Security. Support our police and hire the police to personally protect you and your business. Visit online to schedule a free security consultation at bluestarsecurityllc.com. That's bluestarsecurityllc.com. A check of the roads coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
Brandon Tatum explains his view on the war in Israel.
To be honest, we need to stay out of it. We either need to support Israel or stay out of it. Israel is on the right side of it. These other people are devils, in my opinion. Not every single person, right? Because there's people caught up in the middle of that stuff. Just like in America. Joe Biden is the president, but most people don't believe in this fool. You know, I mean, I think most Americans are sick of what he's doing.
The Officer Tatum Show, weeknights at 8, right before Sean Hannity at 10 on AM 560. The Answer.
Hey guys, Donald Trump Jr. here. Let me ask you this. Does inflation feel worse than what we're being told in the news? That's because the official inflation rate doesn't tell the whole story. Since January 2021, the cost of living has increased by 17.9%. You can't get that money back. But what you can do is stop your losses today. How? By diversifying your savings into a gold IRA from my friends at Birch Gold Group. When you're done, your money will be parked in a tangible asset with a proven history. To see how it works, get your free info kit on gold IRAs by texting the word PROTECT to 989898. I trust Birch Gold. They provide an easy process to roll over your 401k or IRA into gold without losing your tax-advantaged status. So text PROTECT to 989898. That's PROTECT to the number 989898 to get your free info kit on gold IRAs from Birch Gold.
Message and data rates may apply.
Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer. From the AM 560 Traffic Center.
In the city, a crash downtown in Ohio and Michigan Avenue.